Chapter 1791, Uncle, are you going to fight? 3. Ha ha ha. Did you hear that? How ruthless is your Yao clan's old ancestor? I can't believe he doesn't care about your life. After a moment of silence, the Wen family head provoked. Wen family head, it's not that the Yao family head doesn't care about the life and death of his descendants, he just doesn't want to let you go. Don't misunderstand. Leng Ruoxue reminded him calmly. If you don't let me go, I'll kill him. Even if the others don't feel heartache, the Yao family head will definitely feel heartache. The head of the Wen family tightened his grip on the hostage and continued to threaten. AI. The Wen family head. What should I say about you? There are so many of us here, and you only have one hostage. At most, you can only threaten the Yao family head, but you can't threaten us. Compared to letting you go, we seem to be more willing to kill you. So, consider it a good deed for yourself before you die. Let that Yao family elder go. As long as you let him go, we promise to let you die a quick death and not let you suffer. How about it? Leng Ruoxue smiled as she tried to negotiate. However, the smile on her face that deserved a beating was extremely glaring to the Wen family head, and his hatred for Leng Ruoxue grew even deeper. Good. Then I'll let him go. After thinking for a while, the head of the Wen family agreed. Then, he pushed the hostage in his arms into the crowd. Immediately after, a white light flashed and shot straight at the Yao family hostage. When the crowd saw this, they hurriedly defended themselves. Only then did they realize that the head of the Wen family had disappeared. Damn it! That old man actually managed to escape. Someone said indignantly. At this time, another person discovered that the hostage of the Yao family was already dead. However, no one cared about his life or death at this time. Everyone was immersed in depression. You guys are really useless. The middle-aged man was infuriated when he saw that the Wen family's head had escaped. He could no longer be the Oriole. Damn it! Uncle! If we're useless, are you useful? With so many monsters and men in black surrounding us, didn't you just let him go? Or, you still care about your gay relationship with Heyer, so you let him go on purpose? If that's the case, then I won't pursue your dereliction of duty, sigh. The word, love, can cause great harm to people. Leng Ruoxue said in an understanding manner. Her words had successfully incited the middle-aged man's anger, causing the crowd to laugh in low voices. Damn girl, you really have a sharp tongue. However, no matter how sharp your tongue is, it's useless. You're all dead today. The middle-aged man said viciously. Since he couldn't be an Oriole, he could only take the initiative to attack. In short, no one here today could escape. Uncle, are you going to fight? Leng Ruoxue blinked her beautiful eyes and asked with a face full of anticipation. I'm going to kill you. The middle-aged man said through gritted teeth. Oh. Yes, Leng Ruoxue replied. Then, with a wave of her hand, a house appeared out of thin air. With a bang, it stood upright behind the encirclement of the monsters. Immediately after, the door opened, and Master Ning and the rest walked out of the house. At the same time, Fengde also opened the door and walked out with his men, laughing. Actually, Fengde and the rest had long wanted to come out. However, Leng Ruoxue had transmitted a message to them, telling them not to act rashly and to wait for her orders before coming out. And now, it was Leng Ruoxue who had instructed them to come out and join in the fun. Uncle. Now that everyone is here, it's convenient for you to make a move, right? Don't let us down. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. You're looking for death. The middle-aged man squinted his eyes and stared at the two houses in front of him with jealousy. Damn it, it was so difficult for him to get one house, and now there were two houses in front of him. He was extremely envious when he saw these two houses, and he was even more determined to kill them. As long as these people were all dead, these two ownerless houses would belong to him. As he thought of this, his heart became more and more heated. He raised his hand and said sternly, "Go. Kill these people." As soon as the middle-aged man finished speaking, the monsters were the first to attack. Oh! The monsters quickly chose their opponents. Unfortunately, not a single monster dared to approach Leng Ruoxue. Instead, she was surrounded by a large number of men in black. Looking at the men in black surrounding her, Leng Ruoxue smiled calmly and asked with a face full of uncertainty, "Are you guys planning to gang up on me?" At this moment, Uncle Long and the others were entangled by the monsters, and only the evildoer was by her side. Therefore, if the other party dared to deny that this was a gang fight, she would be very angry. "Ha ha ha. Damn girl, as long as I can kill you, I don't care if they gang up on me or not." The middle-aged man laughed smugly, but in his heart, he couldn't help but think, Can't you deal with those monsters? I won't let the monsters come and kill you. Once his men in black finish off this damn girl, no one here will be able to escape. Without Leng Ruoxue, these people were useless. He couldn't help but think smugly. AI. Since Uncle thinks so, then fine. Come at me together. But, Uncle, I have to remind you that I'm only a deity. You've sent so many people to kill me. If word of this gets out, you won't be able to survive in the divine realm in the future. Leng Ruoxue reminded him out of the kindness of her heart, but she was extremely happy in her heart. This was a great opportunity to practice. Even the weakest of these black-robed men was a god king. This was a good opportunity for her to see the difference between her and the god kings and god emperors. After all, such an opportunity was rare. Don't worry. You won't have the chance to spread it because you're all dead. The middle-aged man said confidently. Thanks, aren't you afraid that you'll cut your tongue? I'm afraid you don't have the ability to kill us. At this time, the demon who had been silent all this while laughed lightly. A cold light flashed in his black and bright eyes. In his eyes, this middle-aged man was already a dead man. Because he would not let off anyone who dared to let Shuai die. Little brat. Your tone isn't small either. The middle-aged man laughed coldly, disapproving of the demon. The same. We're on the same page. After the demon finished speaking, he dashed out like a shooting star. To capture the bandits, one must first capture the leader. Hence, his target was the middle-aged man. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to Leng Ruoxue, "Shuai, be careful. I'll deal with this old man first." Shuai had many tricks up her sleeve and there were so many beastie by her side, so he was still assured of Shuai's safety. However, he still had to give her some advice. I can use them as practice. Leng Ruoxue replied. Following that, she took out her precious and other beasts from her bracelet. The moment the little beasts came out, they were all extremely excited. There was going to be a fight again this time. Luckily, their master did not forget about them. "Baby, succubus, you guys go," Leng Ruoxue ordered. At the same time, a sword as thin as a cicada's wing with a cold glint appeared in Leng Ruoxue's hand. As the cold glint flashed, tens of thousands of red meteors flew towards the man in black from all directions. Seeing that their master had made a move, the babies also found a man in black who was not very pleasing to the eye and fought with him. However, they all used mimicry appearances and kept teasing the man in black. The men in black who were fighting with them could only see white lights flashing in front of their eyes, but they could not catch them. After a few rounds of teasing, the men in black who were fighting with the babies were all completely enraged. "You little bastards, you're dead." The men in black roared in anger and attacked the beasts. When they saw this, they turned around and ran. In this exchange, nearly half of the men in black were attracted by them. The pressure on Leng Ruoxue had also lessened. However, there were still hundreds of men in black surrounding her. "Old fellow, Shin Noa, you two quickly go and support that little girl Shuai." Not far away, Master Ning, who was entangled by the monster, saw that Leng Ruoxue was surrounded by so many men in black. He was extremely anxious, and his face was full of worry. Sob. Shuai was only a god tier. These people were such bullies. As he thought about it with resentment, his attacks became more and more ruthless. Like cutting watermelons, he directly crushed the monsters into pieces. When the monsters resurrected, he would kill them again and again. Unfortunately, these unkillable monsters kept bugging him. Otherwise, he would have gone to help Shuai long ago. All right. The first elder and Shin Noa nodded. However, just as they finished speaking, they saw the black-robed men surrounding Leng Ruoxue fall to the ground. Some of them had even been turned into ashes. Instantly, the two of them were stunned. What are you guys doing? Hurry up and go. The master of the Ning family urged. Although he had also seen what had happened just now, he reacted very quickly because Shuai was a little pervert in his eyes. No matter what she did, it was normal. Oh. After the two of them regained their senses, they quickly responded and ran towards Leng Ruoxue's direction. Just as they ran over, they were just in time for Leng Ruoxue to activate her divine skill. Following that, they saw tens of thousands of wind blades shooting towards the men in black like meteors. In the blink of an eye, countless men in black were either dead or injured. Seeing this, the two of them were depressed because they didn't know if they were here to help or to add to the trouble. If they were here to help, it seemed that this girl didn't need it at all. However, with the two of them joining in, this girl might be more restrained in her swordsmanship. Therefore, they were quite conflicted. First Elder, Guild Leader Shen, you two can just watch the battle. Leng Ruoxue, who was in the middle of a battle, saw the two's conflicted expressions from the corner of her eyes and quickly reminded them. Meteor sword technique was more suitable for group attacks, and in situations where there were no one on her side, she could use it without any scruples. Otherwise, she would have to worry about accidentally injuring them. Hence, she didn't want anyone to help her. All right. The two of them replied, the depression in their hearts could not be described with words. Forget it. Since this little girl didn't need anyone's help, they would stand guard for her in case someone attacked her. Just like that, the two of them stood by the side and observed the battle between Leng Ruoxue and the men in black. The more they watched, the more shocked they became. This girl was really a monster. Her divine energy seemed to have come from nothing as she threw it out like it was her life. While the two of them were sighing, the roars of a dragon and the cries of a phoenix could be heard in the sky. Then, 2 dragons and 2 phoenixes appeared in the air. The 2 dragons and 2 phoenixes were huge and covered the sky. Their bodies were red and burning with purple flames. Their eyes were cold and vicious. The 4 beasts had an unfriendly expression on their faces as they swooped down and surrounded the men in black and Leng Ruoxue. Instantly, the sea of fire soared into the sky. There were a few untimely flashes of light in the flames, but they were all extinguished by the sea of fire in the end. After the sea of fire disappeared, the number of men in black was less than 100. However, Leng Ruoxue's face was getting paler and paler. The men in black were staring at her with extreme vigilance, fear flashing in their eyes. At this moment, they were truly afraid of Leng Ruoxue. This woman only had the strength of a god, but her divine power was beyond imagination. Her divine skills were so powerful that it was unbelievable. Fuck. Was he still human? Chapter 1792, Take Your Own Life. 1. The black-robed man was bewildered. The dragon and phoenix that had been formed by the divine energy had almost scared them out of their wits. However, Leng Ruoxue's current condition wasn't too good either. In order to deal with these black-robed men, she had used up too much of her divine energy, and her physical strength was also in a state of exhaustion. Seeing her pale face, one of the men in black forgot his fear and laughed proudly. Ugly monster, you're so smug. You're finished this time. Is that so? Leng Ruoxue's smile was so carefree that the man in black was filled with hatred. However, the black-robed man's words had caused First Elder and Shin Noa, who were watching the battle from the side, to be on tenterhooks. Furthermore, they had also made preparations to reinforce Leng Ruoxue at any time. However, Leng Ruoxu's next move shocked everyone. She took out a small jade bottle and poured a handful of pills into her hand. Then, without hesitation, she swallowed the pills and her pale face returned to normal. The men in black widened their eyes in disbelief. He just ate a handful of pills like this. Was he still human? How could it be so exciting? They had seen the pill that Leng Ruoxue had consumed very clearly. The spiritual energy on the pill was flowing and there was even a layer of faint light. This was definitely the appearance of a high-quality pill. However, Leng Ruoxue had swallowed a whole bunch of high-quality pills in one gulp. Wasn't this just deliberately causing trouble for others? One had to know that it was a sword. Not just one. If there was only one, they wouldn't be surprised. After all, for powerhouses like them, who wouldn't collect a few life-saving medicinal pills? However, the other party had casually taken out a handful, which was something they could not accept. Because even if their positions were reversed, they were afraid that they would not be willing to eat so many medicinal pills at once. That was all money. Even if he sold them all, he probably wouldn't be able to get that handful of medicinal pills. Instantly, the men in black looked at Leng Ruoxue differently. Some of them treated her as a huge treasure vault, while others were filled with jealousy. As for the first elder and Shen Nua who were watching the battle from the side, the two of them pretended to be calm on the surface, but in reality, they were extremely ashamed. Woo! They had lived for so many years, but they had never eaten medicinal pills so freely before. That was a sword. In the entire firmament, there was no other way to squander more than this. However, it seemed like one could not be jealous of such a thing. Even if Shen Nua was an alchemist, the medicinal pills he had on hand were definitely not as rich as Leng Ruoxue's. Furthermore, most of his medicinal pills were refined by others. In truth, he was very short of money. At the thought of this, the gloominess in Shen Nua's heart could not be described with words. Sob. They were both alchemists, but why was the difference so huge? Leng Ruoxue had fish scale flowers and dragon's beard grass in her hands. She didn't even blink when she took them out. But what good stuff did he have? Even if there was, it would be someone else's. Just as Shen Nua was remorseful and the first elder was filled with envy and jealousy, the group of black-robed men started their attack. In the previous battle, they were more or less passive and had underestimated Leng Ruoxue's strength. Thus, before they could even make a move, many of their men had died. However, now that they had a clear idea of Leng Ruoxue's strength, they were more confident in dealing with her. Furthermore, they firmly believed that a mere deity, no matter how powerful she was, would not be a match for them when they joined forces. The painful lesson they had learned previously was because they had underestimated her. Brothers! Let's go, let's show this ugly monster our power. A black-clothed man shouted. Thanks, good. Go. This time, well, let this ugly monster see our true strength. The men in black chimed in one after another, and his aura instantly soared. However, their self-deceiving actions made Leng Ruoxue laugh. Hee hee. Come at me together. I don't feel any pressure using you guys as practice. Leng Ruoxue's smile was very devilish. However, when that smile was placed on her disguised face, it seemed out of place. The fight just now was really satisfying. These black-robed men were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered in her hands. They had no power to fight back at all. Moreover, with the addition of her life flame divine skill, they died on contact, not even leaving behind a corpse. However, this time, she did not intend to let them die so easily. Brothers, let's go. Hearing Leng Ruoxue's provocation, the men in black were burning with rage. With a swoosh, the men in black surrounded Leng Ruoxue in a few circles. This time, they did not dare to act like before and give Leng Ruoxue the chance to kill them all at once. Instead, they planned to split into a few groups and attack her separately. The first to attack would be the 10 people closest to Leng Ruoxue. The 10 of them each used their own techniques. The moment they made their move, it was a sure kill move. They had no intention of giving Leng Ruoxue a chance to live. When the first elder and Shen Nua who were watching the battle saw this, their hearts were on tenterhooks. This time, they did not dare to watch the battle from the side easily. Instead, they looked for the black-clothed man who was the closest to them and started fighting. However, even though the two of them had the strength of divine emperors, they were not good at close combat. Moreover, their battle required the assistance of external objects, such as pills or equipment. Both of them were top figures in this field. Therefore, they displayed all their advantages as soon as they started fighting with the man in black. With a wave of Shen Nua's hand, countless transparent powder scattered out. Instantly, the men in black who were fighting with him felt half of their bodies go numb, and their bodies became weak and powerless. In the blink of an eye, a few men in black fell limply to the ground, their eyes filled with resentment. Damn it, you actually cheated. What kind of skill is it to use medicine against us? If you have the ability, then fight us with real weapons. One of the men in black who had fallen to the ground roared furiously, and the gaze he directed at Shen Nua was as if it was about to spew fire. I'm a famous alchemist, so of course I have to use the methods of an alchemist. How stupid would I be if I had to fight with you thugs with real knives and guns? Or am I an idiot in your eyes? Shen Nua laughed in spite of himself, his incomparably handsome face was filled with speechlessness. You're right. We have to make use of our own advantages, or else we'll lose face for our class. The great elder nodded in agreement. Then, a transparent white rope appeared in his hand. The rope was 100 meters long and only as thick as a baby's arm. It floated in the air as if it had a life of its own. As the great elder waved the rope in the air, the transparent rope soared into the sky like a white dragon. After spinning a few times in the air, it swooped down again, a white vortex flashing in front of everyone's eyes. Then, the few men in black who were fighting against him were tied up tightly with transparent white ropes. Damn it! Quickly release us. The man in black who was tied up shouted angrily. What's wrong? Do you guys want to fight me with real weapons? I don't have the time to play with you guys. The great elder said straightforwardly. Then, several wind blades flew out from his hand. Chapter 1793, Take Your Own Life, 2, Woof. Buzz. Whoosh. The black-robed man who was tied up by the rope did not have the time to call for help before he lost his life. Not only that, he had also dealt with Shen Nua's opponents who had been knocked down by the medicine. Great Elder. Why did you kill my captive? Shen Nua said with some dissatisfaction. If you don't kill them, you still want to keep them? First Elder was speechless. I want to keep them for me to test my medicine. I've recently developed several new poisons, but I haven't had time to test their effects yet. We can use them to test it out. Shen Nua said honestly. Oh. There are so many men in black here, you can just grab as many as you want. I won't kill you this time. The great elder promised. Don't be too quick this time. If you want to kill them, wait until I'm done testing the medicine. Shen Nua suggested. No problem, he said. Yes. The great elder replied. The two of them were chatting casually. However, the man in black who heard their conversation was so angry that he was trembling. Fuck. These two old fogies were actually researching this kind of thing in front of them. It was really preposterous. The black-robed men who heard their conversation were enraged, and instantly, several more people joined forces and attacked Shen Nua and First Elder together. With Shen Nua and First Elder's interference, the number of people dealing with Leng Ruoxue was reduced by nearly a third. However, this time, Leng Ruoxue did not attack as swiftly as before. Instead, she was on the defensive. She wanted to see if she could withstand a portion of these people's attacks with her current strength. However, it would be troublesome if there were too many people. After all, her current strength was limited. At the thought of this, Leng Ruoxue had a change of mind. She moved the silver wolf pack out of her bangle. Their task was to pin down the men in black. There were thousands of adult silver wolves in Leng Ruoxu's bracelet. However, she had only released a few hundred of them. Even so, these few hundred silver wolves were enough to cause a lot of trouble for the men in black. Although these wolves did not seem as strong as the men in black, their numbers were more than 3 times their own. Therefore, when they saw these silver wolves, the men in black were momentarily stunned. However, their many years of training made them snap out of their daze very quickly, and they stared at the silver wolves with vigilance. When the silver wolves came out, they were all extremely excited. They had been in the bracelet for too long, and because their strength was lower than the other beasts, they had not had a chance to fight. This time, although they could not enjoy themselves to the fullest, they could at least compete with these people. Moreover, Master had said that as long as these people did not die, they could play however they wanted. Awoo! Awoo! After a few excited howls, the vicious wolf pounced on the black-clothed man with lightning speed. Instantly, the black-clothed man's attention turned to the silver wolves. The pressure on Leng Ruoxue suddenly decreased. At this moment, there were only about 10 men in black in front of her. Her beautiful eyes stared at the men in black warily. A transparent wall of water appeared in front of Leng Ruoxue, blocking the first attack of the men in black and reflecting it back. Seeing this, the man in black dodged at top speed. The man in black, who was slightly slower, had a beautiful arc cut on his body by the reflected divine skill, and blood instantly gushed out. Damn it! The men in black surrounding Leng Ruoxue became even more furious, and the attacks in their hands became even more ferocious. With a few long howls, a few gigantic monsters appeared in the sky. These monsters were the size of small mountains, and their limbs were even thicker than an adult's waist. They looked like bears, but they had long horns on their heads. Although these monsters were formed from god power, their bodies were abnormally solid, as if they were real. Thanks, kill this ugly monster. At the man's command, a few monsters formed from godly power descended from the sky. Their fists, which were twice the size of an adult's head, slammed fiercely into Leng Ruoxue's godly power aqua rampart. Swish! A wave of water rippled on the water wall. The water wall was dented by the fists of the monsters, but it soon returned to normal. Seeing this, the monsters with godly power glared at the water wall with their eyes that were spewing fire. They punched the water wall several times. Bang! 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 After a few loud sounds, a crack finally appeared on the water wall. Then, the water wall turned into specks of starlight and disappeared in the air. But then, another aqua rampart that was even more solid and transparent than the previous one stood in front of the divine monsters. The monsters stared at each other in a very human-like way, and as if there was a fire behind them, their fists fell on the aqua rampart like raindrops. Bang! 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 The concentrated punches caused countless ripples to appear on the water wall. After the ripples passed, the water wall did not shatter like before. Roar! The monsters with divine power were furious. Seeing that their fists were useless, they used their bodies as weapons and smashed into the wall of water. At this moment, Leng Ruoxue could no longer be bothered to defend herself. As she gulped down pills to replenish her divine power, she continued to cast spells. Instantly, the sky changed color. Dozens of fiery red dragons and phoenixes appeared in the sky, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Half of the sky was dyed red. All of a sudden, the surrounding temperature rose. The flowers, grass, and some of the injured monsters were directly roasted into ashes. The black-clothed men widened their eyes in disbelief. This can't be real. This can't be true. There were so many dragons and phoenixes that could not be condensed by the divine power of a deity. However, the auras of the dragons and phoenixes told them that these dragons and phoenixes, which were emitting terrifying auras, were really condensed by divine power. Fuck. Young Miss is playing with such a big bet. Fengde and the others, who were fighting the monsters, saw the dragon and phoenix suddenly appear in the sky. They all widened their eyes in surprise. They didn't know why the young lady, who had always kept a low profile, was so flamboyant this time. The Yao family's head and the others, who were also in a daze, fell into a short daze after seeing the dragon and phoenix in the sky. The monsters fighting with them were so scared that they were trembling. The aura emitted by the dragon and phoenix made them feel the threat of death. At the same time, the middle-aged man, who was busy dealing with the monster, also raised his head to look at the dragon and phoenix in the sky. Although he was shocked and suspicious, he still appeared calm on the surface. "I've really underestimated that little girl." The middle-aged man sighed. It was no wonder she dared to come to the secret realm to save someone. She was actually such a monster. What was even more terrifying was that Ling Ruoxue was only at the god realm. If she was allowed to grow, even reverent god-level cultivators like them would not be her match in the future. Hence, the middle-aged man's killing intent towards Ling Ruoxue grew even stronger. That wretched girl definitely can't leave this place alive. While her strength is still weak, I must get rid of her at all costs. Otherwise, there will be endless trouble in the future. Although the middle-aged man did not want to keep Ling Ruoxue, a huge threat, alive, he was both envious and jealous of her monstrous talent. Even though he was a reverent god, it was still very difficult for him to use his divine power to condense so many dragons and phoenixes to assist in battle. However, Ling Ruoxue's face only turned slightly pale. Chapter 1794, Take Your Own Life, 3. What infuriated him even more was that in the blink of an eye, that wretched girl Ling Ruoxue had already consumed more than a few hundred pills to replenish her divine power. This prodigal. How much would that cost? No, even if you had money, you probably wouldn't be able to buy so many medicinal pills, because the materials required to refine so many medicinal pills were unimaginable. No words could describe his current feelings. You only found out now. The evildoer who was fighting with the middle-aged man said with a faint smile. The smile on his face was so natural and proud. Humph. You're a man, and your cultivation base is above that wretched girl's, but your strength is inferior to hers. Don't you feel inferior? If I were you, I'd kill myself to avoid embarrassing myself. The middle-aged man said sarcastically. Are you talking about yourself or me? If I need to feel inferior, then you can just buy a piece of tofu and knock yourself to death. After all, you are a reverent god. But look at you, you're living a hard life. You don't have any pills or equipment. What's the point of living? You can kill yourself. The demon suggested with a chuckle. I didn't expect you to be so good at talking. I've really underestimated you. The middle-aged man's face was red as he snapped. In his heart, he kept consoling himself, don't be angry. Don't fall for this guy's trick. Hee hee. It's not too late to know now. Actually, I'm not only good at talking, my fists are also good. Do you want to try? The demon grinned evilly as he clenched his fist and asked. Humph. Don't talk big in front of me. You're all going to die today. The middle-aged man said viciously. Then, a powerful wind blade flew out of his palm and headed straight for the demon. Seeing this, the demon raised his hand and a black divine power net appeared in the air. When the powerful wind blade reached the divine power net's sphere of influence, the divine power net quickly contracted and covered the wind blade. The wind blades that were caught in the net crashed around, trying to cut through the divine net and escape. However, the divine net became tighter and tighter, and the range of the wind blades became smaller and smaller until they were taken in by the divine net. The middle-aged man's eyes were filled with horror. How? How was this possible? There were several levels of difference in strength between him and the demonic man. According to common sense, the demonic man's divine power net should not have been able to cover his wind blades. Unfortunately, things did not go as he had planned. At this moment, he saw another scene from the corner of his eye that made him vomit blood even more. The dozens of dragon phoenixes that Ling Ruoxue had conjured circled the sky a few times before spitting out scorching flames, burning the monsters that had already revealed their fear into ashes. As for the men in black who were closer to her, they were not spared from the terrifying flames as well and were immediately turned into ashes. Fengde and the others wisely jumped out of the battle circle early to avoid being affected by the residual flames. However, the Yao family's master and the others, who were not mentally prepared, were not so lucky. Their bodies were more or less burned to varying degrees, and this was the result of the deliberate control of the dozens of divine power dragons and phoenixes. Otherwise, they would probably be burned to ashes like those monsters. After the monsters were exterminated, only the middle-aged man and dozens of men in black were left at the scene. The dragons and phoenixes flying in the sky were still staring at them covetously. Suddenly, they felt their scalps go numb. Leng Ruoxue threw another handful of pills to replenish her divine power into her mouth. This time, the Yao family head and the rest who were lucky enough to witness it all felt their lips twitching. They were all screaming in their hearts about how wasteful they were. However, when they caught a glimpse of the dragons and phoenixes with divine power still swaggering in the sky, they all withered like frosted eggplants. The flames burning on the dragon and phoenix were too powerful. Anyone below the divine emperor realm would die upon contact. Hence, even though they felt sorry for Leng Ruoxue's wastrel behavior, they did not dare to make a sound. In fact, they did not have the right to make a sound. Little girl. You rest. Leave the rest of the men in black to us. Seeing that Leng Ruoxue's face was still pale after taking the pill, Uncle Long's heart ached for her. He knew that this little girl had gone all out this time. Her physical strength and divine power were all exhausted. Although she had the support of the pill to replenish her divine power, the amount of divine power required to form these dragons and phoenixes was unimaginable. At the very least, he couldn't create so many of them at once. Leng Ruoxue nodded and cleared the battlefield. Fengde and the rest swarmed forward and surrounded the men in black. Fengde and the rest cooperated well with the silver wolves. They attacked from the top and bottom and quickly annihilated all the men in black at the scene. At this moment, the only living person was the middle-aged man. The demon's eyes and ears were sharp. Seeing that all the men in black were dead, he smiled and said, "Your subordinates have all died, so it's your turn now. I'm good to you. I specially let you witness their deaths with your own eyes. Now, you can die in peace." After he finished speaking, a few rays of black divine power shot out from his palm. After drawing a beautiful arc in the air, the divine power that flickered with black light flew in the direction of the middle-aged man, Puchi. The sound of a light blade cutting through clothes resounded out, and instantly, several wounds were cut open on the middle-aged man's body, and fresh blood immediately gushed out. "Damn it. I won't let you off." Seeing this, the middle-aged man hurriedly stuffed a healing pill into his mouth and roared. He raised the weapon in his hand high and slashed down at the demon. Then, a white light flashed and the middle-aged man disappeared. Seeing this, everyone was stunned. What was this situation? That guy actually ran away. This fact made everyone depressed. They had so many pairs of eyes on them, yet they had still let the leader of the men in black escape. This was too embarrassing. Let's quickly chase. We can't let that guy get away. Someone shouted angrily. No need to chase, we can't catch up. The demons stopped him. Why not? Although he's a reverent god, we can teleport as well. Moreover, we have a few reverent god level cultivators on our side, so there's no reason we can't catch up to him. Someone said in an unconvinced manner. The human race doesn't use teleportation. Even a reverent god can't catch up to him. The master of the Ning family said. If it's not teleportation, could it be a teleportation divine talisman? Some people guessed. Everyone was shocked. The so-called divine teleportation talisman was a talisman that could teleport without any hindrance. Even if you were besieged by thousands of people, as long as you had one divine teleportation talisman, the other party would not be able to do anything to you. Moreover, it could teleport you to any place you wanted to go. However, the cost of the divine teleportation talisman was extremely high, and it was extremely troublesome to make it. you also had to be proficient in formations. Therefore, it was not easy for even a supreme god to have a divine teleportation talisman that could save his life. Therefore, they never dreamed that the person who they thought was going to die would have such a good thing. This was really a mistake. He didn't know what kind of trouble the middle-aged man would cause them after running away. They were filled with regret. Chapter 1795, Awakens, 1. At this moment, Baby and the other beasts returned. The men in black who were chasing after them were still following closely behind. Seeing this, everyone's eyes immediately turned red. Since the big one ran away, he would vent his anger on these small fries. With this thought in mind, the men in black had just run back here, and before they could see the situation in front of them, they were directly crushed into powder by the crowd. In just a few seconds, the men in black who could have escaped became the victims of the anger of the crowd, and they did not even know who killed them. Everyone, clean up the battlefield. So that we can leave this place. After the men in black and the monsters were all dead, the head of the Yao family raised his arms and shouted. However, as soon as he said this, everyone stared at him in disbelief. What's wrong? The head of the Yao family didn't understand. Yao family head, if you want to clean up the battlefield so much, then go clean it up yourself. We won't fight with you over it. Feng De said with a smile. Ah. The head of the Yao family was a little stunned. Then, he looked around and found that the battlefield was covered in black ashes. Instantly, his old face turned red and he said embarrassedly, the battlefield is very clean. It seems like there's no need to clean it up. Although he said that, he wanted to vomit blood in his heart. There might be something good on these men in black, but it was a pity that they were all burned to ashes by that wretched girl. It was really infuriating. He had originally thought that he could get some compensation, but now, it was all for naught. He had not gotten a single cent, and had even lost a lot of property. Several elders had died. Sob. His heart ached. After this battle, at least half of the Yao family's few remaining elders were killed by the monster, and the few who survived were all injured or disabled. The Yao family's losses in this trip to the mystic realm were so heavy that the Yao family's master had not expected it. However, when he thought of the culprit of all this, that old thing from the Wen family, he made up his mind. After he left this place, he would definitely join forces to destroy the Wen family to make up for their losses. Everyone, go back to your rooms and have a good rest. 3 days later, well, go look for the exit of the secret plane. At this moment, Len Ruox's beautiful eyes scanned the crowd's expressions as she spoke with a faint smile. Everyone nodded and was about to walk into the house when suddenly, a weak voice entered their ears. Ancestor! Please save us. Hearing this voice, everyone looked in the direction of the voice in unison. What entered their eyes was an extremely haggard woman. Her hair was disheveled, her clothes were in tatters, and her face was covered in blue and purple. It was almost impossible to see her human figure. Who are you? Someone asked out of curiosity. Im Xian Old ancestor. Qing Xian pounced in front of the Qing clan's old ancestor, crying like a pear blossom bathed in rain as she tightly hugged his thigh. What Xian Do I know you? The head of the Qing family was confused, clearly not sure of this woman's identity. Im Qing Xian You even praised me before, ancestor. Don't you remember? Qing Xian hugged the Qing clan's patriarch's leg and cried with a wronged expression. Ah. The head of the Qing family was a little embarrassed. He really couldn't remember. There were too many descendants of the Qing family, and he couldn't possibly remember every one of them clearly. Moreover, he had praised many people before, so why would he remember Xian Oh. It's Xian The head of the Qing family said perfunctorily, his face red. Old ancestor, you've finally remembered me. That's great. Seeing this, Qing Xian's tears immediately turned into a smile. I haven't really remembered. The head of the Qing clan couldn't help but wipe the cold sweat off his forehead. However, he still maintained an amiable expression on his face and said, Xian. How did you get here? Ancestor. I came with my maternal family. After hearing about this secret realm, my brother and I wanted to come here to gain experience. If we encountered any opportunities, we could offer them to the ancestor, but we didn't expect this place to be so dangerous. Countless people from my maternal family died, and my brother and I almost lost our lives here. Woo! Ancestor, you can't leave us alone. Qing Xian'er's tearful voice explained the reason, causing some of the people who didn't know the truth to feel touched. Old man Cheng, I didn't expect you to have such a filial descendant. I really envy you. The head of the Yao clan praised. What's there to be envious of? The head of the Cheng clan was secretly angry. After all, in his opinion, old man Yao's words were clearly mocking him. As smart people, they couldn't possibly not know why Qing Xian'er had come here. He wasn't a 3-year-old child, so how could Qing Xian'er coax him with just a few nice words? Of course I'm envious. Our Yao family doesn't have such a filial descendant. The head of the Yao family said as he rolled his eyes. Don't worry. There will be. The head of the Qing clan said coldly. Let's go in. At this moment, Leng Ruoxia's calm voice rang out. With that, she pulled the evildoer and walked in first, followed by the master of the Ning family and the others. After the battle just now, they were all a little tired and didn't have the mood to care about other people's gossip. Most of them quickly entered the house. Although the Qing clan's patriarch also wanted to enter the house to rest, his leg was tightly held by Qing Xian'er. Xian'er. Let go of your hand, what do you think this is? The Qing clan's patriarch roared in anger. He really didn't know if it was because he was too kind to the younger generation of the clan, but Qing Xian'er actually hugged his leg in front of so many people. This made him lose face. After all, experts like them, whether in front of clansmen or outsiders, should be unattainable, only able to watch from afar. Moreover, the Qing clan's rules were very strict, and Qing Xian'er's actions were considered to be overstepping. Ancestor. Hearing the displeasure in the Qing clan's head's voice, Qing Xian'er hurriedly let go of her hand and timidly and carefully looked at her old ancestor with tears in her eyes. In a moment of anxiety, she had actually hugged the old ancestor's thigh. If this had happened in the Qing family, she was afraid that she would have already been punished by the clan rules. After all, the old ancestor's dignity was not to be blasphemed by the clan members. Seeing the fear on Qing Xian'er's face, as well as the mist hidden in her beautiful eyes, the Qing clan's patriarch's heart softened. It seemed that this girl had suffered a lot in the mystic realm. Although he was a little angry that she had entered the mystic realm without permission, he thought that she must have suffered a lot of fright and suffering in the mystic realm. The Qing clan's patriarch decided to let her off for the time being and would properly punish her when he returned to the Qing clan. Xian'er. You've already violated the clan rules by entering the secret realm without permission. The head of the Qing clan said with a serious expression after some thought. Xian'er knows her mistake. Xian'er is willing to accept any punishment. When Qing Xian'er heard these words, she hurriedly admitted her mistake. Right now, she was afraid that the old ancestor would abandon her and not care about her. Thus, her attitude of admitting her mistake was exceptionally good. That's good. I'll remember your mistake first. When we return to the family, I'll order the acting family head to punish you severely. The patriarch of the Qing clan made the final decision. Chapter 1796. Wake up, too, thank you, forefather. Qing Xian'er heaved a sigh of relief. As long as the old grand madam was willing to protect her, it didn't matter even if she had to receive the harshest punishment. She didn't want to stay here for another day. However, what surprised her was that damned woman, Leng Ruoxia, didn't expose her. This was a little out of her expectations. She had been on tenterhooks the entire time, afraid that Leng Ruoxia would tell the old grand madam about her actions. Now, it seemed that the annoying woman was also afraid of her ancestor, she thought happily. In fact, she was overthinking it. The reason why Leng Ruoxue didn't expose her was because she didn't take her seriously. Furthermore, Leng Ruoxue was very tired and couldn't be bothered with her. Hence, she managed to escape this calamity temporarily. After talking to Qing Xian'er, the head of the Qing clan turned to look at Fengde, who had been standing by his side the entire time, and said with a smile, "She's a junior of the Qing family. Do you think it's possible to let her into the house to rest? The cost will still be the same." The tone of the Qing clan's head was one of negotiation. After all, this brat was Leng Ruoxue's subordinate. He had to give Leng Ruoxue some face. Furthermore, Leng Ruoxue was the owner of this house. Now, everyone in the Qing clan, except him, had paid for their accommodation fees. Hence, whether this junior who suddenly appeared could stay in the house would have to seek the opinion of Leng Ruoxue and the others. Who asked those unfilial descendants of the Qing clan to offend that petty girl? She had caused him to lose face in front of that girl. When he thought of this, he felt extremely depressed. "Patriarch Cheng, no matter how much money you offer, we won't take in your junior. As for the reason, you should first understand what good things she has done. I'm going back to my room. If you don't want to come in, you can accompany her outside. Anyway, the monsters and the man in black are dead, so there's not much danger. However, even if the monsters and the man in black don't die, they don't have much interest in her. So, you can rest assured that she won't die," Fengde said coldly with a faint smile. The words he said did not hold back even though the other party was the ancestor of the Qing family. His tone was also not very good. After he finished speaking, he went straight into the house and closed the door with a loud bang. Looking at the tightly shut door, the veins on the head of the Qing family's forehead throbbed. At this time, other than the Qing family, there were only a few people who wanted to watch the show. Seeing him being treated so rudely by a junior, some people even showed a gloating smile. Needless to say, this person was undoubtedly the head of the Yao family. "Old man Cheng, these little guys are looking down on us seniors more and more. That girl surnamed Leng is like this, and her subordinates are actually following suit. We're losing our status in the divine realm," the head of the Yao family said resentfully. However, anyone with eyes could tell that he was trying to stir up trouble. Therefore, everyone present remained silent to avoid getting into trouble. "Don't compare me to you," the head of the Qing clan said unhappily. Although he was a little angry that these little fellows didn't give him face, he wouldn't collude with the damned Yao family. After all, they weren't on the same side, and he could still distinguish between the inside and outside. "All right then. I originally wanted to help you, but now you have to solve this problem yourself." After saying that, the head of the Yao family led the remaining members of the Yao family into the great elder's house. As soon as the Yao family left, the onlookers didn't dare to stay here any longer. They all went into the house, and in the blink of an eye, only the Qing family was left outside the house. "Ancestor, what do we do now?" An elder of the Qing clan glanced at Qing Xian'er and couldn't help but ask. In fact, he was also tired and wanted to return to his room to rest. However, the old ancestor was still outside, so none of them could return to their rooms to rest. "Qing Xian'er, what have you done to anger that little girl Shue'er?" Without responding to the elder, the Qing clan head directly asked about Qing Xian'er. Old ancestor, I didn't do anything." Qing Xian'er lowered her head and forced herself to calm down. Her heart was so nervous that she was breaking out in cold sweat. What she was afraid of really happened. Although that damned woman didn't expose her, her subordinate sold her out. Damn it! She hated Fengde in her heart and wanted to cut him into pieces. If I didn't do anything, would people say that? The master of the Qing family scowled, his eyes narrowed in displeasure. It's because she didn't save me and almost killed me. That's why we turned against each other. Furthermore, she also caused my brother's Dantian to be crippled. Now, my brother is already a cripple, Qing Xian'er made a point out of context. She specifically picked out the main points she felt, but she did not mention the cause of the matter. As soon as her words left her mouth, a portion of the Cheng clan elders who heard this became angry. How could Leng Ruoxue be like this? They really went too far. Do you think our Cheng family is easy to bully? Where is your brother now? Are you still alive? Old Grand Madam, we must get Leng Ruoxue to give us an explanation for this matter. Otherwise, our Cheng clan will not let this matter rest. Some of the Cheng clan elders who were filled with righteous indignation spoke one after another in anger. Almost everyone's faces were flushed red, and their bodies were trembling with anger. All of you shut up. I will investigate this matter. As for Xian, she can stay outside for the time being. Hearing their discussion, the Cheng clan's clan head said somewhat unhappily. These elders had truly disappointed him. How could they believe Cheng Xian's one-sided words? However, he was very clear that the reason why they were so angry was mostly because of the previous incident. As for how much they felt for Cheng Xian and her sister, only they themselves knew. Since the Cheng clan's ancestor had spoken, the elders of the Cheng clan naturally became well-behaved, and Cheng Xian didn't dare to have any objections. Otherwise, if she angered the ancestor, she wouldn't have the chance to turn things around. After the head of the Cheng clan led the clan elders into the house, he didn't immediately return to his room. Instead, he went to find the Great Elder. In the Great Elder's room, the Great Elder sat on a chair and looked at his old friend sitting opposite him with a smile. He didn't say a word and just sipped his tea. After a long while, the head of the Cheng family couldn't help but speak. Old man, go and ask that little girl Shuai what exactly happened. What did Cheng Xian do to anger her? The head of the Cheng clan said gloomily. He had originally wanted to wait for the Great Elder to ask him what he wanted before explaining his intentions. However, who knew that the cunning old fox would not fall for it at all? Do you still need to ask? It must be that Xian of your family who did something she shouldn't have done. Otherwise, that little girl Shuai wouldn't treat her like this. The first elder said in a protective manner. After being with Leng Ruoxue for so long, he understood that girl quite well. Although he knew that she was a little cold, she had helped so many people. Even if it was for the sake of old man Cheng, she couldn't ignore the life and death of the Cheng family. Moreover, Cheng Xian had always been with Shuai, so it was even more impossible for him to ignore the Cheng family. Therefore, he didn't need to ask to guess that Cheng Xian must have done something that angered the heavens and the people. He naturally wouldn't make an unnecessary move to ask about such a thing. Chapter 1797, Awakens, 3, That might not be the case. The head of the Cheng family quibbled. However, he didn't even have the confidence to say these words. After he finished speaking, he even lowered his head, not knowing what he was thinking. Old Cheng. In fact, you don't need to ask Shuai about this. Your Cheng Xian has always been with her, so it's best if you ask him. He's a member of the Cheng family, so his words are more trustworthy than outsiders. The elders of the Cheng family will believe him more, so you can just ask him. First elder warned. AI. That makes sense, how could I have forgotten about him? The head of the Cheng family sighed, his heart full of depression. Why were the younger generation of the Cheng family so troublesome? His hair was turning white from worry. The next day, early in the morning, he had gone to find Cheng Xian to understand the situation. After returning, he shut himself in his room without a word. When the elders of the Cheng family saw this, they suddenly panicked. What's wrong with the master? They had never seen the master of the Cheng family like this, and this made them extremely uneasy. Just as they were feeling uneasy, the master of the Cheng family finally summoned them. Time passed. 3 days passed by in a flash. During these 3 days, Leng Ruoxue had stayed in the bracelet and absorbed the spiritual qi in the spatial zone as if she was hungry. As time sped up and she absorbed day and night, the exhausted divine power in her body was finally filled up. Furthermore, she had even improved slightly because she could feel the barrier to a breakthrough. After leaving this place, she would be able to officially advance. When she came out of the bracelet and went to the yard, Feng De and the others were already waiting for her in the garden. Seeing that her face had recovered and she was full of energy, everyone's hearts were at ease. Miss, you've finally come out. Grape stepped forward and said with a worried look. Let's go. Len Ruoshua smiled and nodded. Everyone walked out of the house, and the great elder and the others were already waiting outside. Standing with them were Cheng Xian-er and Cheng Yi, but the siblings' faces were not very good, and they seemed even paler and more haggard than before. Godfather, first elder, let's go. Len Ruoshua said with a smile. All right. Master Ning nodded. They had been prepared. Shui-er, bring these two unfilial descendants of the Qing family. I'll punish them severely when we get back to the Qing family. At this moment, the head of the Qing family said shyly. If the Qing family head wants to take them, then take them. However, their lives have nothing to do with me. Also, don't cause me any trouble. Len Ruoshua said emotionlessly. Don't worry. I'll keep an eye on them. The head of the Qing clan promised. Since they were clansmen of the Qing clan, he couldn't let them die here. Even if they died, they had to die in the clan. This was the main reason why he wanted to bring this pair of brother and sister. Listening to their conversation, Cheng Xian-er's heart was filled with hatred. Of course, her hatred for Len Ruoshua had seeped deep into her bones. After all, if it wasn't for Len Ruoshua, she wouldn't have ended up in this state. Now that her maternal family treated her as an enemy, it seemed like the old ancestor wouldn't let her off either. The main culprit of all this was this damned woman in front of her. Not only did this hateful woman cause her to be abandoned by her friends and family, but she also made the monsters and men in black here dislike her. As long as she thought about how she and her brother had been teased and frightened by those monsters and men in black during this period of time, the hatred in her heart deepened. Her lowered eyes were filled with killing intent, but because she kept her head down, no one noticed her thoughts. Let's go. Let's go to the bottom of the valley. After she finished speaking, Len Ruoshua pulled the demon and walked down. The ones who led them were naturally Baby and a few other little beasts who were familiar with the way. Even though the middle-aged man had said that no one else could bring them out of this place, Len Ruoshua did not believe that. In her opinion, since she could enter, she would definitely be able to leave. It would be best if there was a path. If there was no path, she would create a path. In short, she would definitely not be trapped here. Initially, she had planned to let her godfather and the others capture the middle-aged man and force him to send them out of this place. Who knew that he would escape? As for those men in black, she had asked Qing Ju to read their minds. They really did not know where the exit was. In this case, they had to find the exit themselves. After searching the valley for a long time with treasure and the other small beasts, they finally arrived at a secret chamber at the bottom of the valley. Everyone looked around the secret chamber and fixed their eyes on the blood cherry blossom in the blood pool. At this moment, the blood cherry blossom seemed to have bloomed even more brilliantly. The huge flower was almost twice as big as before, and it was emitting a faint fragrance. Just as everyone was in doubt, someone fainted. Qing Biao, what's wrong? Quickly wake up. After Qing Biao fainted, an elder of the Qing clan beside him quickly patted his face and said, Don't touch him. He's been poisoned. At this time, Shen Nua came to Qing Biao's side and carefully examined him. How could he be poisoned? Everyone's faces were filled with question marks, and panic flashed through their eyes. She must have done it. She doesn't want to take you guys out of here. All of a sudden, an extremely sharp voice rang out. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw Cheng Xian-er pointing at Len Ruoshua with an angry expression. Cheng Xian-er. You shut up. When the head of the Qing clan heard Cheng Xian-er's words, his head began to throb. Furthermore, he could clearly feel a few unfriendly gazes. He didn't need to think to know who they were. If he allowed Cheng Xian-er to continue her nonsense, his old friends would definitely fall out with him. AI. He was starting to regret bringing Cheng Xian-er along. Ancestor. I'm just telling the truth. Qing Xian'er said in a soft voice, her face full of grievance. You shut up. One more word and they'll kick you out of the Qing family. The head of the Qing clan warned. Qing Xian'er didn't dare to speak. Miss Qing, you said that this matter was done by Miss Leng. Do you have any evidence? At this time, the head of the Yao family asked, wishing for the world to be in chaos. She's talking nonsense, and you believe her? Without giving Qing Xian'er a chance to speak, the head of the Qing clan hurriedly said. There's no smoke without fire. I think Miss Qing must have evidence. Otherwise, she wouldn't be so sure. The Yao clan's patriarch said with a faint smile. At this moment, everyone else was also staring at Qing Xian'er. Seeing so many expectant gazes, Qing Xian'er felt much more confident. That's right. What I said is completely based on facts. Qing Xian'er gathered her courage and confidently declared. She was going all out. Oh. Then, Miss Qing, please tell us. The head of the Yao family guided. This woman's heart is black. Moreover, she only recognizes money. She took so much money from you and said that she wanted to take you out, but now that she saw you help her kill the monsters and black-robed men in this secret realm, she felt that you have no value and didn't want to take you out anymore. However, breaking the contract would offend you, so she wanted to keep all of you here. That's why she poisoned you. Qing Xian'er made a solemn vow. As she spoke, she was so excited that she was dancing with joy. However, her words were laughable in the ears of Feng De and the others. However, in the ears of those who were more observant, they seemed to make sense. Miss Leng, it turns out that you want to kill us and steal our money. You are actually this kind of person. We have really misjudged you. An elder of the Yao family roared with a red face and a thick neck. Hearing his words, most people looked at him as if he was an idiot. Idiot. Leng Ruoxue spat out the two words coldly and turned her head to focus on the flower. Who are you talking about? When the Yao family elder heard these two words, he jumped up 3 times and questioned loudly. Of course I'm talking to you. My young miss saved you, and it's fine if you're not grateful since you paid for it, but you're actually listening to this brainless woman's nonsense? Have your heads been kicked by a donkey? Can that woman's words be trusted? Killing you guys and taking your money. You have the nerve to say that. We are too embarrassed to listen to that. How many of you don't know how many IOUs you have? If we kill you, well, get a pile of white notes. Who can we ask for them from? Grow some brains, will you? Don't just jump to conclusions, you're also a respected figure in the immortal realm. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at if this gets out? Also, please understand one thing. You didn't help my miss kill those monsters and men in black. It was my miss who saved you. Otherwise, with your abilities, you can only sit here and wait for death. You bastard. What you don't understand, I really don't know how you became an elder of the Yao family. Old man Yao, your foresight needs to be strengthened. Also, don't forget that you're still in the room. If you want to fall out with us now, it won't do you any good. Feng Die's sharp tongue and eloquence made those who had some thoughts shut up immediately. Then what about Qing Biao being poisoned? You have to give us an explanation. The elder of the Yao family stammered. Although the other party's strength wasn't high, his aura was too strong. He was a little frightened. What a joke. Why do you want us to give you an explanation? We didn't poison him. Feng De sneered. He was really speechless and didn't know what to say about the whimsical thinking of this elder of the Yao family. How could there be such a stupid person in this world? It was really strange. Don't quarrel. Qing Biao was poisoned by the flower poison. Miss Leng, the pill in your hand, Shen Nua looked at Leng Ruoxue, and did not finish her sentence. Furthermore, he did not dare to say the name of the fish scale pill, afraid that someone would have ill intentions after seeing the pill. I'm only selling. Leng Ruoxue's cherry lips parted slightly as she spat out a few words. Then, her beautiful eyes turned to the blood cherry blossom in the blood pool. Shenhua nodded, then smiled at the Qing family's head. Patriarch Cheng, the pill to save Qing Biao is the same price as the healing pill I sold you before. If he doesn't need it, he can only live for 3 months at most. Buy it. The head of the Cheng clan nodded. If it could be sold at the same price as the healing pill, then the pill that had saved Qing Biao was definitely not an ordinary one. Although it was a bit expensive, at this time, every elder in the clan was extremely precious. As a result, he could only pay a large price. Moreover, Qing Xian that brainless girl, had said those words before, so he didn't have the face to ask Shui for a friendship price. AI. Now, he was really remorseful. Then, the two sides made a deal. After Shenhua took the fish scale pill from Leng Ruoxu's hands, she directly stuffed it into Qing Biao's mouth. After a while, Qing Biao woke up. What's wrong with me? Qing Biao, who had just woken up, looked confused. It was as if he had a dream, and in his dream, the flowers were exactly the same as the ones in the blood pool. You've been poisoned, Shenhua said. Then, he reminded everyone, stay away from the blood pool. The flower is poisonous. Hearing Shenhua's words, everyone subconsciously took a large step back, and stared at the huge flower in the blood pool with vigilance. Ha ha ha. Roar. Roar. Hee hee. Suddenly, a smug, sinister, and fearful laugh came from the secret chamber. Everyone's hair stood on end upon hearing it. Those who were more timid had their hair stand on end and their faces turned deathly pale. At the same time, 2 tentacles as thick as a baby's arm stretched out from the huge flower core. The head of the tentacles had a suction cup with 2 rows of sharp teeth, and there seemed to be blood flowing in the tentacles. In an instant, the tentacle moved at lightning speed, making paw-paw sounds as it waved and attacked everyone. Everyone hurriedly retreated, and the 2 tentacles followed them like shadows. Chapter 1798, Obliterated, 1. When everyone saw this, they hurriedly fled in all directions. However, the 2 tentacles were still chasing them. The atmosphere became tense. Since you've disturbed my deep sleep, then all of you will stay and accompany me. Oh ha 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 ha. The huge flower swayed violently, and its voice revealed a trace of pride. Its 2 tentacles were also moving faster and faster, making everyone panting and panting. Everyone's footsteps were also slightly panicked. At this moment, almost everyone was only thinking about how to avoid it, and they had forgotten about attacking. Leng Ruoxue, who was already standing at a corner of the secret chamber, stared at the 2 waving tentacles with her beautiful eyes, deep in thought. According to Uncle Long, this flower should have been asleep most of the time. Now that it suddenly woke up, could it be related to the disappearance of the black-clothed man? Without the men in black and those monsters, it was equivalent to having no food. Therefore, the flower was awakened by hunger. So, after they arrived here, the flower decided to hunt for food by itself? Leng Ruoxue guessed. In reality, Leng Ruoxue's guess was close to the mark. This blood cherry blossom had indeed been awoken by hunger. Ever since those people had been rescued by Baby, it had not had any fresh food to eat. Thus, its mood had been in a frenzy. Furthermore, the efficiency of the men in black here was too low. They had not caught a single person for it even after so long. It had also not seen the men in black for a few days. Today, while it was in deep sleep, it suddenly smelled fresh human blood. In a moment of excitement, it woke up. However, it did not expect that it would have to catch its own food. It was used to living a life where everything was provided for it, so it was not used to hunting for food on its own. However, as a flower of noble status, its ability to adapt was naturally very strong. Therefore, after pouncing on empty air a few times, it locked its target of food on the few people with the lowest cultivation. The first people it chose were Fengde and Lin Yuan. Although they were weak, they were very young and strong, and they were its favorite food types. After it had chosen them, its two long tentacles chased after Fengde and Lin Yuan. Fengde and Lin Yuan were being chased by the two tentacles, and they were constantly shouting in an exaggerated manner, "Mother! Why is it only chasing us? Help me! Ha ha ha! This is your retribution." Seeing this scene, Qing Xian'er stood at a place she thought was safe and laughed wildly. Although she really wanted the flower to kill Leng Ruoxue, it was not bad to be able to kill her two subordinates, she thought with hatred. However, she didn't have time to think about it for long before a tentacle flew towards her like a flexible whip. Her face turned pale immediately, and the tentacle was extremely fast. She didn't have time to dodge it. In a hurry, she pulled Cheng Yi to her side and used him as a shield. Cheng Yi, who had lost his cultivation, was now equivalent to an ordinary person. In the face of such a situation, he could not escape even if he wanted to. The next second, he was wrapped by the thick tentacle. In the blink of an eye, Cheng Yi was sucked dry. Before he died, he looked at his own sister with his eyes wide open in disbelief. Never in his wildest dreams would Cheng Yi have thought that he would die at the hands of his beloved sister, instead of being killed by those monsters and men in black. When everyone saw this scene, their gazes towards Qing Xian'er became filled with contempt. Originally, in their eyes, Qing Xian'er was just a bit annoying, but she was still a member of the Qing family. Before the Qing family's patriarch announced her expulsion from the Qing family, they had to give the Qing family some face. But now, they didn't think so. This woman was too terrifying. In order to survive, she actually used her own brother as a scapegoat. This wasn't as simple as having an annoying personality. This was completely a matter of human character. At a time like this, everyone was on the same boat. They should be working together to deal with this demonic flower. However, while they were focused on dealing with the blood cherry blossom, they also had to worry about someone plotting behind their backs. How could they allow such a situation? In an instant, everyone made up their minds. This time, they definitely wouldn't give the Qing clan any face. Even if the Qing clan's clan head appeared, it wouldn't be of much use. They definitely didn't want a companion like this who schemed behind people's backs. "Miss Cheng, you're too vicious. How could he treat his own brother like this?" The person who spoke had a look of disgust on his face, and his words resonated with even more people. Everyone began to criticize Qing Xian'er. Is this woman still human? She had framed Miss Leng just now, and now she had killed her own brother. Oh my God! How could she do such a thing? Who knew? She looks so soft and weak on the outside, so she's actually this kind of person. Everyone was talking at the same time, and Qing Xian'er's face turned red and white before quickly turning black. In fact, Qing Xian'er was also afraid. But at that moment, she had no choice but to do that. If her brother hadn't blocked that attack, she would have been the one to die. Her brother's dantian had been destroyed, and he had lost all his cultivation. He was a cripple to begin with. Even if he managed to survive, he would still suffer. Therefore, she did not feel that there was anything wrong with her actions. At least in her opinion, her brother's sacrifice was worth it. Her brother should think the same, right? However, these people in front of her did not understand her. Moreover, no matter who she wanted to hide from and seek protection from, that person would escape from her as if they were avoiding the plague. This fact made her extremely angry. However, what made her even angrier was that not only did these people not understand her thoughts, but they also blamed her together. Sob. What did she do wrong? Qing Xian'er really wanted to loudly rebut the crowd's discussion. However, when the words reached her mouth, she was somewhat speechless. These people didn't understand her at all, which made her feel very depressed. At this moment, the tentacle quickly flew towards her again, scaring her so much that she hurriedly collected her thoughts and ran for her life in all directions. Qing Xian'er always ran to places with many people, but no matter where she went, everyone would run 3 meters away from her. Even if she wanted to catch someone to die with, she couldn't find a suitable person. Other than Leng Ruoxue and the rest, Everyone else present was more powerful than her. They would not be so foolish as to stand there and let her use them. After thinking it through, she set her eyes on Fengde and the rest. However, Fengde and the others were not that easy to make use of. After seeing Qing Xian'er's eyes darting around, Fengde and the others knew that someone was trying to get their hands on them. They looked at each other, and Fengde and the others quietly hid a sharp dagger in their sleeves. If Qing Xian'er dared to come forward, they would definitely make her come here and never return. Qing Xian'er did have the intention of sneaking to their side. However, she was caught by the tentacle halfway. In a moment of desperation, she dodged and ran towards Leng Ruoxue, who was some distance away. Chapter 1799, Obliterated, 2, Help. Qing Xian'er shouted as she ran. Humph. Even if she were to die, she would drag someone down with her. She would not let that damned woman live well. The crowd looked in the direction she ran and suddenly understood. They looked at her with even more disdain. Schwaer. Be careful. The demon warned loudly. At this moment, he was entangled by a tentacle and could not save Leng Ruoxue in time. As for Master Ning and the others, they were too far away to do anything. When Leng Ruoxue heard his reminder, she gave him a comforting look and stood on the spot, not having any intention of running away. In just a few seconds, Qing Xian'er and the tentacle were within reach. Qing Xian'er looked at the unmoving Leng Ruoxue, and a sense of pride flashed in her heart. Humph. Are you scared, silly? If I die, don't even think about running away. As she thought of this, she approached Leng Ruoxue even faster. However, when she was only a meter away from Leng Ruoxue suddenly disappeared. Immediately, Qing Xian'er was dumbfounded. Where was he? Where did that damn woman go? Qing Xian'er was stunned. Just as she was lost in her thoughts, the tentacle that was chasing her wrapped around her waist and rolled her into the air. The suction cups on the head of the tentacle pierced into her body, and in an instant, Qing Xian'er lost her life. She didn't even have time to cry for help. When everyone saw this scene, no one sympathized with her, let alone save her. Moreover, they could not save her. This is retribution, isn't it? Feng Daliang said. That's right. People with evil intentions will die faster than others. Lin Yuan agreed. The two of them echoed each other's words and added insult to injury, making some people gnash their teeth in anger. Unfortunately, no one dared to refute these words. Otherwise, wouldn't it be true that they had evil intentions? Disdainfully throwing the sucked-dry Qing Xian'er to the side, the blood cherry blossom's tentacle once again stared at Fengde and Lin Yuan. These two were the two food it had its eyes on the first time, and it was about to taste them. Ah! Suddenly, a sharp cry rang out in everyone's ears. Everyone's eyes widened as they discovered that someone had actually cut off one of the blood cherry blossom's tentacles. This brave person was none other than the demon. Half of the tentacle that had been cut in half fell to the ground and twitched continuously. A pool of red and stinky blood sprayed on the ground, burning a black mark on the ground. The owner of the tentacle, the blood cherry blossom, was furious. Damned human! If you dare to hurt me, I won't let you off. The blood cherry blossom's furious roar resounded within the secret chamber, reverberating in everyone's ears. Oh, really? That's good, we won't let you off. Leng Ruoxue's calm voice rang out as she appeared beside the evildoer. You can all die. The blood cherry blossom roared in anger. The tentacles that were originally extending towards Fengde and Lin Yuan changed their direction and headed towards Leng Ruoxue and the demon. Just as the blood cherry blossom was about to attack Leng Ruoxue and the demon, Uncle Long and Master Ning ran towards the huge blood cherry blossom in the blood pool. In an instant, a sword and a steel fork stabbed towards the blood cherry blossom. Bang! The huge blood cherry blossom pattern did not move at all, and not a single mark was left on the delicate petals. The two of them immediately felt a little depressed. How could this broken flower be so sturdy? They had used at least 30% of their strength, but they had not even cut off a single petal. This fact made them feel extremely flustered. However, this struggle only lasted for a few seconds. Immediately after, the two of them attacked together and used all their strength to stab at the blood cherry blossom. Ow! Ah! A cry of pain rang out as the sturdy blood cherry blossom petals fell one after another. The blood in the pool of blood seemed to have become even redder. The blood cherry blossom shook its remaining petals and launched an angry counterattack. Not even in its dreams did it think that someone could actually hurt its petals. This fact made it feel ashamed and resentful, so it was angry. The consequences were very serious. Master Ning and Uncle Long, who had finally cut off more than half of the blood cherry blossom's petals, smiled proudly. Then, they brandished their weapons and attacked the blood cherry blossom. However, the blood cherry blossom was prepared and didn't intend to give them any chance to hurt it. The furious blood cherry blossom once again extended countless tentacles from its heart. However, this time, its tentacles were not as thick as the previous two. This time, the tentacles were only as thick as a baby's finger, and the suction cups were pitifully small. However, there were many of them. The moment the tentacles extended, they waved at everyone present. Looking at the tiny tentacle in front of their eyes, Uncle Long and the master of the Ning family couldn't help but laugh and sneer. "I say, blood-sucking flower, what are you doing? Can such a small thing take our lives?" The two of them were very curious. "Humph. You ignorant humans, you'll know once you try." Blood Cherry snorted coldly, her tone carrying a hint of iciness. "It's a pity I don't want to try," Uncle Long and Master Ning said at the same time. Then, they slashed at the tentacle in front of them. However, this time, the tentacle sensed their thoughts and retreated. Seeing this, the two of them used all their strength and filled their weapons with divine power. They slashed at the remaining petals of the blood cherry blossom again. As they attacked, the remaining petals of the blood cherry blossom left the flower and fell into the blood pool. Immediately, another cry of pain rang out in the secret chamber. "Arg! Ah! Ah! Despicable humans! You're all dead!" The blood Sakura roared, and the blood in the blood pool began to churn like rivers and seas. Hot red bubbles began to bubble violently. It wrapped around the withered blood cherry blossom, and its tentacles also retracted back into the pistol. Everyone looked confused and confused. What was he playing at? Was the blood cherry blossom trying to harm herself? While everyone was puzzled, they did not forget to stare at the blood cherry blossom vigilantly. Soon after, they understood the blood cherry blossom's intention. It turned out that the flower was healing its injured body. Schwer quickly set fire to it. "We can't let it be as good as it was before," the master of the Ning family ordered. N. Leng Ruoxua nodded her head. Following that, a small red flame with a tinge of purple appeared on her fingertip. With a gentle flick, the flame jumped onto the blood cherry blossoms that were wrapped in the blood. In an instant, a sea of fire was set ablaze, and the painful cries from the sea of fire rang out in everyone's ears. "Arg! Ah! Ah! Humans! You'll regret it if you kill me!" The blood cherry blossom roared furiously. However, at this moment, no one paid any attention to its words. If it did not die, they would be the ones to die. Their lives were more important. Who could think about whether they would regret it or not? Moreover, even if he regretted it, that would be a matter for the future. There would always be a way out when the car came to the mountain. It was useless to think about those things now. Chapter 1800, Annihilated, 3. At this moment, everyone's hearts were in one. After a long time, the cries of pain in the flames grew weaker and weaker until they disappeared. The blood in the blood pool was also burned to ashes by the fire. After the natal flames were retracted, everything in the blood pool was revealed to everyone. The blood pool that was originally made of white jade was now pitch black and in a mess. The huge blood cherry blossoms and the stinky blood had also turned to ashes. Seeing this, everyone's suspended hearts finally relaxed. Although the situation just now was a bit critical, other than Qing Xian and Cheng Yi who had died, everyone else had been frightened but not in danger. However, the experience just now had made them break out in cold sweat. Now that they thought about it, they still felt a lingering fear. The flower is dead. We're safe. Let's look for the exit now. Seeing the tension in the crowd, the master of the Ning family reminded. However, as soon as he finished speaking, everyone saw the white jade blood pool disappear before their eyes. In its place was a teleportation gate that was shining with white light. Everyone looked at the teleportation gate in front of them, dumbfounded and puzzled. How did this happen? Master Ning had just told them to find the exit, and this teleportation gate had actually appeared. This was really strange. Could this be the exit? Everyone was bewildered, and they couldn't help but look at each other. Master Ning, I don't know if this portal is dangerous. Do you think we should go in and take a look? The head of the Yao family asked after a long while. What do you mean by me? This isn't my business alone. If everyone has no objections, let's go in and take a look. Maybe it's the exit. The master of the Ning family glanced at the master of the Yao family and said indifferently. Master Ning is right. This is our business. It's not up to us to decide. Whether we go in or not depends on everyone's opinion. If everyone agrees, then we'll go in and have a look. As the saying goes, without entering the tiger's cave, there's no tiger's child. If we don't verify it ourselves, we'll never know what's on the other side of the portal. This portal might be the exit. Uncle Long agreed. What if there's danger? An elder of the Yao family couldn't help but ask when he received a look from his family head. Cultivation is dangerous. Why are you still cultivating? Leng Ruoxua laughed coldly and asked with a mocking expression. The Yao family's elder choked on his words until his face turned red. Other than glaring at Leng Ruoxua, he could not even form a complete sentence. Who asked him to be a little afraid of this wretched girl? Miss Leng, you promised to bring us out of here safely. At this time, someone reminded. That's right. I wonder what you want me to do. Would you believe me if I told you that this teleportation gate is the exit of this secret plane? Leng Ruoxua said with a half-smile. How can we believe you so easily? Unless you can prove it. The man thought for a while and gathered his courage. How do you want me to prove it? Leng Ruoxua smiled faintly, but it didn't reach her eyes. To be honest, these people were always afraid of death at critical moments, which made her a little disgusted. However, since she had promised to take them away, she naturally wouldn't go back on her word. Go in and see if it's the exit. If it's really the exit, we'll leave with you. The man shamelessly suggested. What if it's really an exit and I can't come in after I get out? At that time, don't blame me for not keeping my promise. Leng Ruoxua reminded him calmly. Leng Ruoxua's words left that person speechless. The crowd was also in a dilemma. The atmosphere instantly fell silent. Miss. Let's just go in directly. As for these cowards, let them stay here. After a long while, when he saw that no one had any reaction, Feng De couldn't help but shout. His words almost caused everyone to be angry. How can I do that? How can you leave us here? You're really too shameless. You took our money, but you don't care if we live or die. The crowd criticized, and the Yao family was the representative. Since when did we not care about your life and death? Please be clear, it's you who are as timid as mice and don't dare to go out through this portal. We didn't want to leave you here. Feng De laughed and thought to himself, there are really a lot of top-grade guys in this world. Why didn't the flower just eat them? He thought to himself with some evil intentions, his heart full of regret. That's right. I'll give you two choices now. One is to leave with me, and the other is to stay here. Leng Ruoxua chuckled. She didn't want to waste any more time with a certain someone. Those who want to leave with me, stand on my side. Those who don't want to leave, just stand on the Yao family head side. Leng Ruoxue looked at the situation and added. However, her addition made the head of the Yao family extremely angry. Fuck. Why were those who didn't want to go out on his side? He also wanted to leave, okay? However, his thoughts were the same as those who wanted Leng Ruoxue to verify it first. It could also be said that he was the one who incited it. He wanted to leave, but he cherished his life. Hence, he hoped that Leng Ruoxue would be the lab rat for this experiment. However, Leng Ruoxue clearly did not fall for his trick. The moment Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, Feng De, Lin Yuan, the Ning family head, Uncle Long, the Qing family head, and the beasts from the Endless Ocean all automatically stood by Leng Ruoxue's side. Those who didn't move, on the other hand, stood with the Yao family head, forming two distinct camps. Yao family head, you guys take care, we'll be leaving first. Seeing this, Leng Ruoxue smiled and said. After she finished speaking, she turned around and led the group into the teleportation gate. Wait. Leng Ruoxue had just taken one step in when she was stopped by the Yao clan's clan leader. He continued, well, go with you. The Yao family head wasn't stupid. If Leng Ruoxue and the rest left, they wouldn't have any advantage if they stayed here alone. If another group of men in black and monsters came, they wouldn't be able to deal with them alone. Hence, even though they couldn't confirm what was on the other side of the teleportation gate, they could look out for each other if there was danger. It was better than being in the dark. Actually, everyone understood this logic. However, some of those who were hoping for a fluke were still hesitant. However, when they saw that Leng Ruoxue and the rest were really preparing to leave, they became anxious. We will leave with you. Someone quickly chimed in. You guys better think carefully. The other side of the portal might not be the exit. Leng Ruoxue reminded him again. It doesn't matter. Without entering the tiger's lair, how can one obtain the tiger's child? Uncle Long's words were being used by them. Then let's go. The corners of Leng Ruoxue's mouth twitched. Then, she stepped into the teleportation gate, and the rest followed closely behind. With a flash of white light, they appeared in a forest. All they could see were tall, towering trees. The dense leaves blocked the scorching sun, and the place they were at was exceptionally cool. Where is this place? Are we out? The crowd was puzzled and uncertain. Don't worry. We've already come out. Leng Ruoxue said softly. Green Vessel had confirmed that they had already left the secret realm. As for this forest, it was a nameless forest in the divinity. There were many forests like this in the divinity. The endless sea is north of here. We can split up now. Leng Ruoxue continued. Miss Leng, let's go together. Well, separate when we reach the city. Someone said worriedly. There were many forests in the divine realm, so they couldn't tell where they were at the moment. Naturally, they didn't dare to travel alone, for fear of encountering danger. Do as you please. Leng Ruoxue understood and ignored them after she finished speaking. She summoned the little peacock and called for the demon child and the rest to sit on its back. Seeing this, everyone summoned their flying beasts and prepared to leave. On the way, Leng Ruoxue and the rest headed straight for the Ning clan's god domain. The Qing clan, Yin clan, Shen Nua, and the Great Elder brought their own family members and left one after another. Shou from the Endless Ocean also returned to his lair in the Endless Ocean after bidding farewell to Uncle Long. As for the worried Yao clan head and the rest, they flew slowly behind them. Miss. They've been following us. Feng De was a little angry. Were these people done? If they want to follow, then let them. They're afraid that I'm lying to them. Leng Ruoxue said. Ha ha ha. Shuer, don't worry. When we reach the city, they will confirm it and stop following us. The head of the Ning family promised, and as he had expected, the moment they arrived in the city, the head of the Yao family no longer followed them. Without anyone tailing them, Leng Ruoxue and the rest flew straight for the Ning family's divine territory in a good mood. When they arrived at the Ning family's main residence, Leng Ruoxue did not exchange pleasantries with anyone. She greeted her godfather directly and entered the house to cultivate in seclusion. In the main hall of the Ning family's residence, the Ning family, led by the second elder, were all moved to tears after seeing their ancestor, unable to speak. After a long time, the second elder finally said, "Old ancestor, you're finally back. Yes, you've worked hard these days." The master of the Ning family glanced at the second elder and the others and said with satisfaction. After not seeing them for so long, the aura of the second elder and the others seemed to be more vigorous. Moreover, they had also changed a lot. This kind of change was what he wanted to see. "It's not hard on us, this is what we should do." The second elder didn't dare to claim credit for himself. Compared to before, he was much more modest. "Ha ha ha. Second brother. I'm very pleased to see you like this," the master of the Ning family said happily. Ah. Hearing this, the second elder was depressed. Woo. Could he not call him second brother? Chapter 1801, Blood, Punishment, 1. However, the second elder only dared to think about it in his heart. He did not dare to say it out loud. Feeling depressed, the second elder dutifully reported to the master what had happened in the Ning family during their absence, and emphasized the matter of the third elder. After all, the third elder was not an ordinary elder of the Ning family, so the master could not ask about the third elder. "You said third brother went to the secret realm?" After hearing the second elder's words, Master Ning frowned, and his tone was even more indifferent, making it impossible to tell whether he was happy or angry. "It should be," the second elder quickly said. In fact, he wasn't very sure either, because the third elder left without saying goodbye. "But we didn't see him in the secret realm." The master of the Ning family frowned, a faint anger in his heart. This third brother was really outrageous. As an elder of the Ning family, how could he do such a willful thing? Family head, then, the second elder was speechless. He only finished half of his sentence when he saw that the family head's expression didn't look too good, so he didn't continue. "Don't worry about him. He's a reverent god after all. He can't possibly not have the ability to protect himself." The master of the Ning family waved his hand and said. In fact, the reason why he was so at ease was that there were no more black-clothed men and monsters in the secret realm. Therefore, even if third elder was still there, his life should not be in danger. More importantly, he also wanted to punish third elder, so he did not want to send anyone to find him. "Yes, master, that secret realm," the second elder looked at his ancestor curiously. When the others heard the word, secret realm, they also stared at Master Ning with anticipation. "AI. It's not a secret realm at all. We'll just be courting death if we go there." The master of the Ning family sighed, his handsome face full of anger. Then, he briefly explained the situation of the secret realm to everyone, including how the Wen family's head had set up a trap to deceive them, how he had fled in a panic, and the matter of the black-clothed man and the monster. Second elder and the others were dumbfounded and tongue-tied after listening to it. "Master, is this all part of Master Wen's scheme?" the second elder asked in disbelief. He couldn't understand why the Wen family head would have the guts to do such a thing. Wasn't he afraid that the matter would be exposed and cause public anger? Oh. By now, he should have already incurred the wrath of the masses. The master of the Ning family nodded. He's so bold. How dare he make so many top forces his enemy? The second elder was left speechless. This didn't seem like something a normal person would do. He didn't expect that the matter would be exposed. Moreover, he's just a small fry. The person behind him is very powerful. It's because he has someone to back him up that he dared to do this. The master of the Ning family said with a headache. Although he didn't want to connect the mastermind of the Snow Mountain secret realm a few years ago with the owner of the secret realm this time, the reality was cruel. All the evidence pointed to the same person. Even though he did not know why that person would do this, he had to be on guard. Fortunately, that person still didn't know that they were the ones who had destroyed the secret realm of the Snow Mountain a few years ago. Otherwise, their Ning family would probably not be able to live in peace. However, he didn't intend to tell the second elder and the others about this matter, so as not to cause panic among the clansmen. The second elder and the others nodded in agreement after hearing the patriarch's analysis. Then, the second elder continued asking, "Master, what should we do with the Wen family?" Since the Wen family's head had done such a thing, these forces that had been deceived would not let them off. As one of the 8 great divine regions, the Wen family's territory and wealth would make people covet them. In the eyes of the other forces, the Wen family had probably become a piece of fat meat waiting for everyone to divide. No one would let go of this rare opportunity. Just send someone to keep an eye on the Wen family's every move. You don't have to interfere with the rest of the matters. The master of the Ning family said after some thought. Ah. Yes. The second elder was stunned for a moment, then nodded. Although he didn't understand the family head's intentions, they had to carry out the family head's orders unconditionally, so he tactfully didn't say much. All right. The Wen family only needs to send people to keep an eye on the secret realm. As for the Ning family, you must also restrain them recently. They are not allowed to cause trouble in the divine realm, otherwise, they will be punished by the family laws. I'm going back to rest, you guys can leave. After making the arrangements, the master of the Ning family left the hall. After Master Ning had left, second elder efficiently arranged everything and went to find Ning Haolan to get more information. At this time, Leng Ruoxue had already gone into closed-door cultivation. At the same time, a bloody punishment was being carried out in a certain luxurious and tall palace in the divine realm. In the magnificent hall of the palace, a middle-aged man in black clothes was tied to a pillar. His face was extremely pale, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. His clothes had long since been drenched in sweat, but at this time, he did not even dare to frown. His body was covered with tiny tentacles, and the blood in his body was being sucked out of his body through these tentacles. The man gritted his teeth and endured the pain. He did not make a sound because he knew that if he dared to make a sound, his lord would not let him go. If he could stand this punishment, his lord would most likely give him a chance to make a contribution for his crime. This was his only chance of survival. The middle-aged man was none other than Black One, who had used the teleportation divine talisman to escape from the secret realm. After Black One escaped from the secret realm, he immediately returned here to beg for forgiveness from his lord. His lord was naturally furious and immediately ordered him to be locked up in the prison to await punishment. Just as he was worried about what kind of punishment he would receive, he heard that the clone that his lord had left in the secret realm had been destroyed. At that time, he was immediately dumbfounded. His lord's strength was unfathomable, and even if the clone was not as strong as his lord, it had at least 30% of his lord's strength. How could it be destroyed so easily? One had to know that his strength was not even 10% of his master's. When he heard the news, his first reaction was that it was impossible. His second reaction was that he was dead because he knew how important that clone was to his lord. Moreover, it was one of his lord's 3 great clones. Now that one of them was destroyed, it would have a great impact on his lord's strength. Thinking of this, his heart was like dead ashes. The lord's punishment also made him feel deep despair. He didn't know if he still had any hope of living, but he still didn't dare to show his timidity and fear. Otherwise, his lord would make him die even faster. Black One's consciousness began to fade as he looked at the tentacles that were stuck all over his body and the incense burning in the incense burner in the hall. It had been 3 days and 3 nights. If he was still alive after the incense had burned out, then his life would be saved. Although the incense was only a few centimeters long, he was not sure if he could survive the last bit of time because he wanted to sleep so badly. Chapter 1802, Bloody Punishment 2. After a while, the incense finally burned out. Although the process took less than half an hour, it felt like 100 years to Black One. The moment the incense finished burning, the freed Black One immediately fainted. Master, Black One has fainted. A man's deep voice rang out in the silent hall. As the voice fell, a woman's figure appeared on the throne. This woman was dressed in fiery red clothes. Her beauty was devastatingly beautiful. Her skin was as white as snow, tender and creamy. Her figure was enchanting, and she had a natural charm all over her body. However, there was no smile on her face at this time. Two flames of anger burned in her beautiful and bright eyes. "Take him away," the woman coldly ordered. "Yes. Yes," the man replied. With a wave of his hand, two men in black appeared and dragged the unconscious Black One away. "Have you found Black Two's whereabouts?" the woman asked again. "Not yet," the man said honestly. "A bunch of trash. Didn't I already tell you where he might be?" The woman was furious. Damn Hey. He didn't come back to apologize to her immediately after such a thing happened. He actually fled on his own. Humph. She would not let that traitor off. "Master, Hey is very cunning. We went to his hiding place as you ordered, but he ran away," the man said gloomily. Hey was also a reverent god, and he would be alerted every time they got close, so they had never been able to catch him. "Don't tell me that I have to personally capture someone." The woman frowned and said with a slight displeasure. "Master, this Black Two is already disloyal, why not?" The man made a cracking motion. If his master wanted to kill Black Two would not be able to escape. But the key was that he was not clear about his master's intentions, so he could only try to suggest. "If I just kill him, you guys will be able to save a lot of trouble, right? Then what's the use of having you?" The woman lifted her eyelids slightly and said in a cold tone, "Yes." She had already planted her mark on Black Two, so she could kill him with a thought. But Black Two was a reverent god. How could she bear to let him die so easily? She had always been envious of the reverent god's vitality. Otherwise, she wouldn't have taken the risk to let Black Two trick Master Ning and the others into the secret realm. Who knew that he was actually a guy who failed and ruined everything? Not only did she fail, but she also exposed herself. In this way, she could not let Hey continue to live in front of people. "Please forgive me, my lord." When the man heard this, he quickly knelt down. Otherwise, with his lord's fickle temper, he might also become fertilizer in a rage. Therefore, he did not dare to anger his lord at all. "Humph. Remember, I'm your master, I don't need you to teach me how to do things," the woman said coldly. Then, she slowly said, "How are Master Ning and the others?" "They've already returned to their respective homes. At present, I've sent people to closely monitor them," the man quickly replied. Be careful not to alert the enemy. By the way, have you found out who destroyed my clone?" the woman asked again, her voice filled with anger. She had a total of 3 bodies, one of which was the main body, and the other 2 were clones. The clones had 30% of her full strength, so what did 30% mean? That meant that she had at least 10,000 years of cultivation. However, it was destroyed in an instant. How could she not be angry? What was even more infuriating was that she did not know who had the ability to destroy her clone. One had to know that her clone might not be as powerful as her main body, but its strength was not to be underestimated. However, it had been destroyed by a fire. This was an unbelievable thing. Although the clone looked weak, it was extremely hard. Ordinary flames could not destroy it at all. The only things that could harm her clone were the 2 legendary divine flames. However, in the entire divine realm, no one had ever heard of anyone possessing those flames. The woman narrowed her beautiful eyes and appeared to be in deep thought. "Your subordinate is still investigating." The man lowered his head and said with some fear. He did not know if his lord was about to get angry again because his lord had been in a bad mood recently. Therefore, they had been living in an abyss of suffering. A bunch of trash. Hurry up and find out. When the woman heard this, she was indeed very angry. If she wasn't in urgent need of manpower, these trash would have long become her fertilizer. She couldn't find and she couldn't find the person who destroyed her clone. She really didn't know what was the use of keeping them. The more the woman thought about it, the angrier she became. In the end, she simply disappeared. She didn't know what she would do if she stayed any longer. After the woman disappeared, the man was so scared that he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and let out a long breath. Fortunately, although his lord was very angry, he did not take action against him. After calming his pounding heart, the man disappeared. Time passed. Len Ruoshua had already been in the purple bamboo house for a week. However, she didn't go into seclusion. Instead, after feeling that she could advance, she concentrated on researching a pill recipe that could restore life force. Before this, they had been in the secret realm, so this matter had been put on hold. After searching the entire alchemy room, she really did find a pill formula that could restore vitality among the pill formulas her master had left behind. However, when she saw the medicinal herbs required, she had a headache. The elixir that could restore vitality was called the Vitality Elixir. It required 5 main ingredients, which included the fish scale flower and dragon's beard grass, 2 extremely rare and precious herbs. As for the other 3, although they were not nearly extinct like the other 2, they were definitely hard to find. Hence, Len Ruoshua was in a dilemma, and even more so, her heart ached. With the herbs she had on hand, she definitely couldn't refine a pill that could restore everyone's vitality. However, fortunately, she wasn't a saint and wouldn't feel guilty because she couldn't help others. However, as a result, she had to think carefully about how to distribute the pills. Following the pill formula, Len Ruoshua took out her personal pill furnace and placed the medicinal herbs in one by one. When she placed the main medicinal herb in, her brows furrowed together. Sob. These medicinal herbs couldn't be bought even with money. Her heart really ached. After making up her mind, Len Ruoshua threw all the medicinal herbs into the pot. Then, she closed her beautiful eyes and pretended that her heart wouldn't ache if she didn't see them. The evildoer and green vessel, who were watching from the side, could not help but chuckle when they saw Len Ruoxua's pained expression. Hee hee. Why was Shuer so cute? His devilish bright eyes stared at Len Ruoshua as he thought to himself. Green vessel immediately consoled her, "Sister, don't worry. With little fish and little dragon, you can use as many fish scale flowers and dragon beard grass as you want." Chapter 1803, Bloody Punishment, 3, however, he could not do it now. Qing Ju added in his heart. At this stage, the little fish and the little dragon had already contributed their savings that they had accumulated for many years. They were also about to be refined into medicinal pills by their sister. Therefore, they could only wait. After all, they could not hurt the little fish and the little dragon's main bodies just to save some insignificant people. It should be known that they had to side with the people on the inside. Len Ruoshua nodded. When she felt that it was about time, she opened her beautiful eyes and stared at the pill furnace. At this moment, the medicinal ingredients had all melted. The next step was to purify and finally condense the pill. After the pills were formed, Len Ruoshua opened the pill furnace and saw dozens of red and green pills lying in the furnace. She picked one up and sniffed it. A faint fragrance immediately entered her nose. Instantly, her spirit was lifted. It was indeed good stuff. Then, she put the pills away in a jade bottle and continued to refine 2 more furnaces. In the end, she counted and found a total of 100 vitality pills. After refining the elixir, Len Ruoshua and the demon took out the bangle. Then, she directly advanced to God-tier master in the courtyard. Because it wasn't the heaven-defying art that had advanced this time, her strength didn't increase by much. As for the heaven-defying art, the amount of divine power it required was beyond her imagination. As for her beasts, not many of them had advanced in rank this time, but the divine power in their bodies had increased by a large amount. After their master had advanced in rank, they took the initiative to request to return to the bracelet to continue cultivating. After Leng Ruoxue had completed her advancement, she only saw 2 maidservants, Grape and Lotus Seed. After asking around, she found out that Feng De and the rest had also gone into seclusion. She smiled helplessly and brought the evildoer to her godfather's residence. Walking into her godfather's courtyard, Leng Ruoxue saw Uncle Long sitting alone in the courtyard drinking tea. When he saw Leng Ruoxue, he waved at her. "Little girl, you've advanced? Come over and sit," Uncle Long said with a smile. "Yes." Leng Ruoxue pulled the evildoer over to sit opposite Uncle Long. She then smiled at Uncle Long. "Uncle Long, is Godfather not here?" She had heard that Uncle Long had been with her godfather the past few days she was in seclusion. Moreover, the two of them had a good conversation. But why was Uncle Long alone here now? This made her a little puzzled. They were, but Master Yao and the others came just now, so Master Ning went to greet them. Uncle Long explained. "Oh. They must be here for the Wen family, right?" Leng Ruoxue guessed. "It must be. They won't let go of the fat piece of meat that is the Wen family. Do you think I should also send a message to the beasts of the endless sea and let them have a share?" Uncle Long asked with an evil smile. "I should." Leng Ruoxue nodded and passed a jade bottle to Uncle Long. "What is this?" Uncle Long was confused. "Vitality pill, it can recover one's vitality," Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. "Little girl, you really refined it? That's great." Uncle Long immediately said with joy. "Uncle Long, the price of this vitality pill is too high, just the main ingredients alone need 5, and that also includes fish scale flour and dragon's beard grass. So, I can only make 100 pills, and I can't give all of them to you, only 50 pills. In addition, I can give 30 to Godfather, and I'll keep 20 for myself. As for how to distribute these vitality pills, you can do as you see fit," Leng Ruoxue explained. "Little girl, thank you. By the way, how much are you planning to sell this vitality pill for?" Uncle Long asked again. He didn't dare to take such a valuable elixir for free. Furthermore, he didn't want Leng Ruoxue to suffer a loss. After all, refining these elixirs cost a lot of money, and the herbs in her hands didn't come from nowhere. "It's up to you, Uncle Long." Leng Ruoxue became a hands-off shopkeeper. Actually, it wasn't that she didn't want to offer a price, but the beasts of the endless ocean were too poor. Hence, she didn't expect to earn much from giving Uncle Long these pills. It was basically a free gift. However, she couldn't say it too clearly, or Uncle Long would definitely feel bad. "Little girl, Uncle Long would like to thank you on behalf of the beasts of the endless ocean. From now on, you will be a distinguished guest of the endless ocean." Uncle Long sobbed. He understood what this girl meant. She was being so generous because she was giving him face. Otherwise, she wouldn't have to do this. After all, if these pills were put on the market, they would definitely be priceless. Even if you had money, you wouldn't be able to buy them. "Uncle Long, you don't have to be so polite." Leng Ruoxue didn't think much of it. After all, she had always been friendly to Beastie. "Yes, I am. Hee hee. Girl, I'll go back to the endless ocean first. I'll come back immediately after I'm done with this." Uncle Long nodded. Then, he teleported away impatiently. He's really an impatient one. The evildoer couldn't help but ask when he saw Uncle Long leave. "Who's the impatient one?" At this moment, Master Ning's voice cut in. Leng Ruoxue raised her head and saw her godfather walking in. "He's talking about Uncle Long." Leng Ruoxue chuckled. "Ah. What happened to that old whale?" The master of the Ning family asked curiously. "I gave Uncle Long some vitality pills, so he was in a hurry to return to the endless ocean," Leng Ruoxue gave a simple explanation. "Vitality pill? What's the use of it?" Master Ning asked shamelessly. "It can restore vitality." Leng Ruoxue's smile was extremely innocent. "Schwer, is this true?" Hearing this, Master Ning was excited. It was to restore vitality. Then this medicinal pill was really too heaven-defying. It was no wonder that old whale left as he wished. He knew very well that the life force of many beasts in the endless sea had been sucked away by that blood cherry blossom. Godfather, this is for you. Leng Ruoshua handed over a jade bottle as well. Then I won't be polite. The master of the Ning family quickly put the jade bottle into his storage ring. This was a good thing. Godfather. No one's going to fight with you. Leng Ruoshua was speechless when she saw how careful her godfather was. How can there not be any? You don't know this, but the blood cherry blossoms have absorbed quite a bit of the Yao family's elders' life force, so they need this. If they know that we have vitality pills in our hands, they'll definitely go crazy. The master of the Ning family reminded him cautiously. Then can't you sell them a few pills? The Yao family is rich. Leng Ruoshua reminded. TSK. I don't want to sell it to them. I want to keep it for myself, in case I need it in the future. The master of the Ning family asked. Shuai girl, you've given me a vitality pill, so I can't let you suffer a loss. Go to our Ning family's treasure vault and pick out some good things. Take whatever you like. The master of the Ning family added generously. Thank you, Godfather. I won't stand on ceremony then. Leng Ruoshua had a you better not regret it look on her face. Ha ha ha. Little girl. You're welcome, Godfather's is naturally yours. The master of the Ning family wasn't just ordinarily open-minded. I'll go pick some when I have time. Leng Ruoshua chuckled. Following that, she asked, Godfather, I heard that the Yao family head and the others have arrived. Yes, it's not just him. The forces that went to the mystic realm this time have also sent people. The master of the Ning family said. You made an appointment? Leng Ruoshua understood. Yes, the Yao family made an appointment to discuss with us. However, to put it bluntly, they just wanted to inform us that the Yao family has no intention of letting go of this fat piece of meat, the Wen family. The master of the Ning family said with a smile. What does Godfather plan to do? Leng Ruoshua asked curiously. Ha ha ha. Girl, do you have any objections? The master of the Ning family asked instead of answering. We haven't found the head of the Wen family yet. Besides, the person behind him is very troublesome. Hence, I don't suggest that Godfather make a move. If the Yao family and the rest insist on going, Godfather can just send some people to help them out. When it comes to the distribution of benefits, the Yao family can also get more. After all, this matter is still very risky. Leng Ruoshua analyzed. That old man from the Wen family had always been a huge threat. However, he had managed to escape back in the mystic realm. At that time, the monsters and the men in black were eyeing them covetously. Hence, no one had the time to chase after the Wen family head. They would most likely not be able to catch up to him either. After all, he was the local tyrant. Yes, I think so too. The fat piece of meat in the Wen family is not delicious. If he really devours the Wen family, the old god of plagues will have nothing to worry about. At that time, if he really goes crazy, we will be the ones to suffer. The master of the Ning family said worriedly. Godfather is right. Now is not the best time to swallow the Wen family. If we act too early, we will only alert the enemy. Leng Ruoshua agreed. AI. How can I change the Yao family's old man's mind? The master of the Ning family sighed. I'm afraid it won't be easy. The Yao family has suffered heavy losses in the secret realm, so the Yao family head is in such a hurry to recover some losses. By the way, what are the opinions of the Chen clan, the Yin clan, and the other major guilds? Leng Ruoshua continued to ask. They said that the majority rules. The master of the Ning family was somewhat helpless. If that's the case, shouldn't we discuss this with the beasts of the endless sea? After all, they are also victims of the secret plane. Leng Ruoxua laughed evilly. That old thing from the Yao family will never agree. How could he let the beasts of the endless ocean have a share of the loot? The master of the Ning family shook his head. It was already beyond his expectations that the old man was willing to come and discuss with them. Isn't Uncle Long's seniority very high? With Uncle Long around, he should at least give us some face, right? Leng Ruoxua laughed evilly. She had heard from the great elder about Uncle Long's glorious deeds. Well, he wouldn't dare to not give face to Uncle Long. But, has Uncle Long returned to the endless ocean? Master Ning was a little embarrassed. Uncle Long will be back in a few days. You guys can discuss it over the next few days. Leng Ruoxua smiled like a cunning little fox, a sly look flashing across her beautiful eyes. Chapter 1804, Hatred, 1. After hearing Leng Ruoxua's words, Master Ning had an idea. Then, he revealed an unspoken evil smile. He understood what Shuai meant and would definitely entertain the representatives sent by the various forces. As for whether or not to annex the Wen family now, it would naturally have to be discussed among everyone. This was not something that one family could make the decision on their own, unless they were not afraid of angering the public. In the next few days, the master of the Ning family declined to discuss with the Yao family and the others, saying that he had something important to do. The representative he sent, the second elder, always said in fear and trepidation that he would have a meeting with the family elders to discuss it. This dragged on, and nearly half a month passed. Uncle Dragon had also returned from the Endless Sea, and with him were the most powerful tribes in the Endless Sea, including the Dolphin tribe. The Dolphin race had sent an important old ancestor. He was also a direct senior of Leng Ruoxua's little dolphin. Hence, Leng Ruoxua was very enthusiastic about his arrival. This gave him a lot of face. The attention he received from Leng Ruoxua also made him feel proud in front of the other sea beasts. His tail was almost raised up. In order to make arrangements for them, Master Ning had specially arranged an independent guest courtyard for them to stay in. Leng Ruoxua had also taken the time to entertain them. The beast representatives of the Endless Ocean were exceptionally enthusiastic when they saw Leng Ruoxua. Each of them gave her a gift. Although the gifts they gave were all from the Endless Ocean, Leng Ruoxua was shocked when she saw the gifts. The gifts they gave were all refining materials from the bottom of the ocean. Most of those materials might not be very precious, but they were in large quantities. Thus, when Leng Ruoxua saw the small mountain of refining materials, she was at a loss for words. These beasts were not only passionate, but also very cute. After using materials that were worthless in their eyes as gifts, they felt embarrassed and were afraid that she would dislike them. When they saw her smile, they heaved a sigh of relief. In the living room. When Uncle Long saw that they had heaved a sigh of relief, he laughed and teased, "I told you that this girl likes these things, and you didn't believe me? You can rest assured now." Hee hee. Uncle Long. No one would pick up those things in our endless ocean. We're just afraid of losing face for you, old man. The old dolphin said awkwardly. No one picked it up because we don't have anyone who can refine weapons, and humans who can refine weapons can't go that deep into the sea, so no one took it. But in the eyes of human artifact masters, those things are really good things. Uncle Long said emotionally. He was experienced and knowledgeable, so he naturally knew what was valuable. However, he didn't have any concept of money, and he didn't care about those worldly possessions. After hearing Uncle Long's words, Leng Ruoxua's heart skipped a beat. She smiled faintly and said, "Uncle Long is right. I do need a large amount of blacksmithing materials. If you are willing to help me collect them, I will buy them at the market price. Of course, I can also exchange them with other items." "Miss Leng, what you mean is that we can use these things to exchange for your medicinal pills." When the old dolphin heard this, it immediately perked up. Medicinal pills. It was something all beasts dreamed of, but unfortunately, none of them knew how to refine it. Of course. Other than medicinal pills, I still have quite a few spirit fruits in my hands. I can exchange them for anything. Leng Ruoxua laughed. "Miss Leng, is there a time limit for this? The old dolphin asked anxiously. There were many good things at the bottom of the endless sea, but unfortunately, they could only look at them. If they could really use those things to exchange for some medicinal pills, they would not be afraid even if they met enemies in the future. However, it would take time to collect the minerals, so he wanted to ask. There's no deadline. As long as you have it, you can come to me. You can also save it up and exchange it with me. Len Ruoshua smiled. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that this was a good idea. One should know that the sea was famous for being a natural treasure trove. There were all kinds of good things in it. Unfortunately, it was fine for her to go there occasionally, but she could not go down to the bottom of the sea to search for treasures often. However, if she had the help of these local tyrants of the endless sea, the situation would be different. Furthermore, this would be a win-win situation for them. Miss Leng, it's settled then. I'll pass on the good news later. I believe that the group of juniors in the endless ocean will be very happy. The old dolphin said excitedly. He didn't expect that this trip to the Ning family would bring such great news to the sea beasts in the endless sea. This was really beyond his expectations. Originally, he had come with the intention of befriending Len Ruoshua. After all, Len Ruoshua was not only the master of his descendants, but also their savior. Furthermore, he was very optimistic about Len Ruoxua's future potential. In addition, Uncle Long admired Len Ruoshua very much. She was also the goddaughter of the Ning family's master. With so many identities and such a strong backing, the shrewd old dolphin naturally hoped to be able to get closer to Len Ruoshua. Or was it more beneficial than harmful to the beasts of the endless sea? However, if they were to rely on the little dolphin and Uncle Long's relationship, the beasts of the endless ocean would not be able to catch the little dolphin's eye. Now, they had become partners and had used the vast resources of the endless ocean to get closer to Len Ruoshua. In the future, their relationship would only get closer and closer. This kind of cooperation would bring many benefits to the beasts of the endless ocean. With this thought, the smile on the old dolphin's face grew wider. One had to know that he had come to the endless ocean with the important task of getting closer to Len Ruoshua. The others also followed his lead. Now that he had done it without much effort, his status in the endless ocean would definitely be higher when he returned. The status of the dolphin race in the endless ocean would probably be unparalleled, I'm happy just thinking about it. Len Ruoshua smiled in satisfaction when she saw the old dolphin and the other beasts' happy faces. She then changed the topic back to the Wen family. Uncle Long. I'm sure you're clear about the Yao family's intentions. I'd like to hear your opinions. Len Ruoshua asked. These past few days, Godfather and the rest had been trying to drag things out, neither agreeing nor rejecting. However, the dissatisfaction of the Yao family was growing. Girl, I'm afraid the Yao family won't want us to have a share of the loot. Uncle Long understood. For so many years, the humans and magical beasts had seemed to live in peace, but in reality, their relationship was not good. Now that such a huge benefit was involved, the humans would probably not allow the magical beasts to interfere. That's for sure. However, we can't let this matter go their way. Moreover, I have a reason for wanting you to interfere in this matter. Len Ruoshua replied nonchalantly. She then continued, actually, Godfather and I don't agree to take action against the Wen family now. After all, the Wen family's master is still out there. If we were to take action now, I'm afraid that the old man will go crazy. By then, we'll be in the open while the enemy is in the dark and we'll be in a passive position. Now that the Wen family is holding us back, the Wen family's master won't dare to appear in front of us easily unless he doesn't care about the Wen family's life anymore. In this case, it'll give us some time to recuperate and build up our strength. Chapter 1805, Hatred, 2, Yup. The trip to the secret realm has greatly damaged our vitality. If we attack the Wen family now, it will be a problem for us when the old man of the Wen family goes crazy. Uncle Long nodded. Then what should we do? The old dolphin asked worriedly. He wasn't worried about himself. After all, they lived in the sea. No matter how powerful the one family head was, he wouldn't dare to go down to the endless sea to deal with them. However, he was worried about Leng Ruoxue and the others. Their strength was too low. If the one family head wanted to make a move, he would definitely find trouble with them first. Being targeted by a reverent god was a very troublesome matter. It's best if we can dispel the Yao family's thoughts. If it really doesn't work, we should try not to get involved. Otherwise, there will be endless trouble. Uncle Long frowned and thought for a while. Actually, if the Yao family really wants to swallow up the Wen family now, it's not impossible to let them take the lead. It's a pity that they've now set their sights on Godfather. They want Godfather to be the leader. This is not something I can tolerate. Leng Ruoxue said angrily. She had finally managed to save her godfather, so how could she allow him to be used by others? Moreover, that was the Yao family. Ha ha ha. Whatever the girl wants us to do, well, just cooperate. After hearing Leng Ruoxue's words, Uncle Long laughed out loud. He believed that this little girl definitely had an idea. Uncle Long. I want you all to join in and pester endlessly. In short, you must get a share of this, and when the time comes, you can give Master Yao a headache. Leng Ruoxue revealed her plan with an evil smile. All right. Wasn't he just pestering endlessly? I'm the best at this, and I don't think he would dare to not give me face. Uncle Long said confidently. Then I'll just wait to watch a good show. Leng Ruoxue chuckled. Yes, I am. But, girl. You have to make more delicious food for me. If I don't eat enough, it will affect my performance. Uncle Long said with a thick face. No problem. Uncle Long, just tell me what you want to eat. Leng Ruoxue said generously. Her words made Uncle Long beam with joy. The next day, the master of the Ning family, who had disappeared for many days, finally reappeared in front of the Yao family. However, he was not alone. Leng Ruoxue, the demon, Uncle Long, and the beast representatives from the Endless Ocean had all appeared. In the Ning family's hall. The master of the Ning family sat on the main seat, while the elders of the Ning family sat below him. Leng Ruoxue and the others also found their own seats. However, no one spoke first, and the atmosphere was still gloomy. After an unknown amount of time, the head of the Yao family finally couldn't help but speak. Master Ning, we've been discussing for so many days. We should have a conclusion, right? The Yao family's master said, holding back his anger. The reason he had come to the Ning family in person was that he was afraid that others couldn't handle this old thing of the Ning family. But who knew that this old thing wouldn't even give him face? It was really infuriating. Yup. It just so happens that the representative of the Endless Ocean is also here, so let's try to reach a conclusion today. The master of the Ning family said with a smile. Master Ning, we've been discussing this for so many days, and you still want to discuss it today? Upon hearing this, the head of the Yao family was so angry that he almost passed out. Of course we have to discuss it. Didn't the Endless Sea send someone here? We should also listen to their opinions. Master Ning said matter-of-factly. This is a matter between us humans. Why should we listen to their opinions? The head of the Yao family said through gritted teeth. If he could, he really wanted to step forward and bite the old man of the Ning family. Initially, he had felt the pain in his heart when he divided the Wen family with so many people. Now, those beasts of the Endless Ocean actually wanted to get involved. This was really intolerable. Master Yao, you're wrong. The beasts of the Endless Ocean are also victims of the secret realm. Besides, they've fought with us before, they're our comrades. Since the secret realm was created by the old god of plagues, the beasts of the Endless Ocean naturally have the right to take revenge on the Wen family. This is immoral. The Ning family's master said earnestly, his expression as if he was very disappointed with the Yao family's master, causing the Yao family's master to turn red with anger. Master Ning is right. Yao family Jr., I want to ask you, what do you mean by your human affairs? Although this old man isn't a human, shouldn't a human like you still call me senior? Moreover, I've only learned today that revenge can be divided into human matters and non-human matters. This is racial discrimination. If I remember correctly, our great master you once said that all races, regardless of their status, are the children of heaven and earth, and everyone should be treated equally. Uncle Long said indifferently as he raised his eyes. Uncle Long. I didn't mean it that way. The head of the Yao family said fearfully after hearing what Uncle Long had to say. Although he was gnashing his teeth in hatred, he didn't dare to act rashly in front of an old beast like Uncle Long who had lived for who knew how many years. After all, Uncle Long's reputation was too frightening. If that's the case, then let the beasts of the endless ocean join in. Uncle Long seized the opportunity and said impolitely. I don't have any objections. Without waiting for Master Yao to speak, Master Ning quickly said. Looking at Master Yao's red face, with no place to vent his anger, he really felt that he had been hiding too much. Uncle Long is the best. In front of him, the old man of the Yao clan had no temper at all. Uncle Long. What do you guys think? After a long time, the head of the Yao family took a few deep breaths and asked while pretending to be calm. In fact, he was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. We don't have much of an opinion. If you want to destroy the Wen family, then go. However, we have to study the distribution of benefits carefully. We, the beasts of the endless sea, can't be at a disadvantage. Uncle Long was very protective. I don't want much from you, how about this? You humans and US beast men will split it 50-50, after each family gets half, you can split it again. Oh. It's decided then. Uncle Long added. The moment he finished speaking, everyone from the Yao family was dumbfounded and tongue-tied as they stared at him in disbelief. Leng Ruoxua, Master Ning, and the evildoer could not help but laugh in their hearts. Ha ha ha. Uncle Long was really too evil. He wanted to take half of the profits all of a sudden. The Yao family and the others would be heartbroken to death. Uncle Long. Isn't a 50-50 split a little unfair? After a long while, the head of the Yao family, who had regained his senses, carefully opened his mouth and asked. He couldn't help but curse in his heart. This old whale was really too ruthless. He didn't even dare to ask for half of the benefits, so how could this old whale open his mouth? How is it unfair? I'm distributing it according to race. You're humans, so you're a team, and the beasts of the endless sea are a team. All the benefits are split equally between humans and beasts, and then you can decide how you want to split it. How fair is this? Uncle Long explained, feeling wronged. But we can't split it like this. The head of the Yao family suddenly raised his voice, his face red as he growled. Chapter 1806, Hatred, 3, Why can't we split it like this? You're humans, and we're beasts, so there'll be conflicts if we mix them together. So, it's best to split them up. It's decided, you don't have any objections, right? Uncle Long's eyes were wide open as he stared at the people in the hall. His eyes flashed with hostility and threat from time to time, making no one dare to object easily. At the same time, many people turned their eyes to the heads of the Yao and Ning families. I have no objections, the master of the Ning family said, smiling. When everyone heard this, they didn't dare to make a sound. I have an opinion. The head of the Yao family couldn't take it anymore and stood up from his seat with a whoosh. He roared, fuck. He was already being bullied. If he didn't fight back, he wouldn't be able to get anything in the end. Do you have any objections? Uncle Long narrowed his eyes and asked in an unfriendly tone. I object to this distribution method. Your endless sea can't take half of the benefits. Under the pressure of Uncle Long, the head of the Yao family gathered his courage and said. Why not? Our endless ocean is also a victim. Moreover, if we really go to the Wen family, we will also have to contribute. In that case, why can't we take half? Haven't you always been able to distinguish between humans and beasts? Then we'll naturally have to go our separate ways. Uncle Long said matter-of-factly. I don't mind giving you some of the benefits, but you can't take half. I can only give you 2 levels at most. The head of the Yao family made up his mind. To be honest, he was distressed to give the Endless Ocean's beasts 2 levels of benefits. After all, he didn't intend to count them in, but Uncle Long was too terrifying. He was afraid. Therefore, he could only bear the pain and split 2 parts of the benefits, but it was impossible to get more. He would not agree even if he died. Well, do the same. Why can we only get 2 floors? The old dolphin asked with a straight face, and the other beasts of the endless sea all glared at the Yao family head with dissatisfaction, wishing they could stare a few big holes in his body. I also want to know why the beasts of the endless sea can only take 2 layers. Yao family brat, do you really think that we beastie are easy to bully? Since that's the case, I don't mind gathering all the beasts in the endless sea to fight you one-on-one. Do you dare to accept the challenge? Uncle Long's face darkened and he said coldly. Yao family head, we'll fight you one-on-one right now, do you dare to accept? When the old dolphin heard Uncle Long's words, it immediately perked up and asked with an evil smile. Since it's a challenge, why don't we set a wager? At this moment, Len Ruoxue said with a faint smile. Good. I have no objections. What do you think, Yao family head? The old dolphin's eyes flashed as he asked the Yao family head with a smile. You want to fight me? The head of the Yao family raised an eyebrow and asked indifferently. Of course. Do you dare to accept the challenge? Let's set a wager, it'll be more interesting this way. The old dolphin said with a smile. What if you lose? The head of the Yao family couldn't help but ask. As long as the one fighting wasn't Uncle Long, he really didn't fear the beasts of the Endless Ocean. If I lose, the Endless Ocean will not follow you and get involved in the Wen family's affairs. The old dolphin promised. All right, he said. The head of the Yao family nodded. Humph. Initially, he did not want these sea beasts to get involved in the Wen family's affairs. However, he could not reject them too obviously because of Uncle Long. Since they had suggested it, he would naturally go with the flow. Master Yao, if we win, will you be able to withdraw from the Wen family's matter? The old dolphin continued to ask. Sure. If you win, I won't get involved in the Wen family's affairs. The head of the Yao family also promised. He answered very quickly because he was too confident in his own strength. As long as the beasts from the Endless Sea were not Uncle Long, no one could defeat him. Ha ha ha. Yao family head is indeed a straightforward person. The old dolphin said with a smile. Then, he turned to Master Ning and said, Master Ning, we want to fight with Master Yao. Please lend us your venue. Come with me. The master of the Ning family nodded. Then, he took them to the training ground of the Ning family. When they arrived at the training ground, the old dolphin specially picked a spacious area and waved at Master Yao as if he was greeting a puppy. Yao family head, quickly come. Let's finish this quickly. Let's start. The head of the Yao family suppressed his anger as he walked to the center of the arena and took up a battle formation. N. The old dolphin nodded, then gave the other sea beasts a look. In an instant, 9 more people jumped up. These 9 people were all divine emperors. However, when the head of the Yao family saw them, he frowned as an ominous feeling rose in his heart. What's the meaning of this? Why did he smell a conspiracy? I'm fighting you. The old dolphin blinked its eyes and looked at the Yao family head as if he was looking at an idiot. Didn't you say you wanted to fight me one-on-one? The head of the Yao family gritted his teeth in anger, and his face darkened. When did I say I'll fight you one-on-one? Am a deity emperor challenging a reverent god one-on-one, am I out of my mind? The old dolphin said with a look of disdain. You clearly said you wanted to fight me one-on-one. The head of the Yao family was so angry that his entire body was trembling. He pointed at the old dolphin and stuttered. I didn't say that. I said we'll fight you one-on-one. What I mean is, we'll fight together, and you'll fight us alone. The old dolphin explained. You're clearly denying it. The head of the Yao family was really angry this time. Looking at the old dolphin's smug look, he really wanted to rush up and bite the old dolphin a few times. One had to know that he had lived for so long and had never been fooled like this before. This old dolphin sure had guts. Did I go back on my word? The old dolphin turned around and asked its companion with an aggrieved expression. No, I didn't. Absolutely not. We're all deity emperors, how could we possibly fight a hierarch one-on-one? If we really wanted to fight him, the one to do so would be Uncle Long. We wouldn't even have a chance. A certain beast immediately echoed. Yao family head, if you want a one-on-one fight, then we'll fight. Otherwise, you'll have to fight them alone. Uncle Long interrupted with a smile. At this moment, the head of the Wen family knew that he had been tricked. His face was red, but his mind was racing. If it was a one-on-one fight, he was not sure if he could defeat Uncle Long. However, if it was a 1-on-10 fight, he was not absolutely sure if he could win. Although the sea beasts would be weaker on land, they were all divine emperors. Even if they were weaker, they were not easy to deal with, especially in their original form. Therefore, he would rather fight 10 human divine emperors than be attacked by a group of them. Besides, he was afraid that these divine emperors would do something bad, so he hesitated. At this moment, the master of the Ning family stood up and looked at the crowd with a serious face. There's no need to compete. I just received news that something has happened to the Wen family. Chapter 1807, Hatred, 4, what? Everyone was shocked. Master Ning, what did you say? The head of the Yao family asked in disbelief. Yao family head, the Wen family has been destroyed. The master of the Ning family repeated. This was great. They didn't need to do anything. The Wen family no longer existed. Who did this? The head of the Yao clan said angrily. A group of men in black. If I'm not wrong, the owner of the secret realm must have sent people to do this. The master of the Ning family guessed. With this matter out, the head of the Yao family was no longer in the mood to fight with the old dolphin and the others. Everyone quickly returned to the hall to discuss this matter. At the same time, they had also received news from various families that confirmed this matter. The Wen family has really been destroyed. After the head of the Yao family received the confirmation from his trusted aide, he sat in his chair with a face of disappointment and muttered to himself. He had originally hoped to get a share of the profits from the Wen family to make up for the losses that his family had suffered. Who knew that those men in black would make a move first? Now, they wouldn't get any benefits at all. He was so regretful. If they had known, they would have taken action earlier. Yup. The master of the Ning family replied in a soft voice. Although he didn't like the Wen family very much, they were still one of the 8 great divine domains. For many years, they had been the talk of the divine world. Now, the Wen family had disappeared from the divine world and the 8 great divine domains had become 7 great divine domains. This made him somewhat unable to adapt and he couldn't help sighing at the fickleness of things. If the old god of plagues had not become the man in black's hidden chess piece and had not set them up, the Wen family would not have ended up like this. Hence, one should not do things against one's conscience. Otherwise, there would be retribution sooner or later. The Wen family's retribution had come. The victims had yet to take revenge on the Wen family. The Wen family had been destroyed by the old god of plagues master. If the old god of plagues knew about this, would he regret it? As far as he knew, other than the old god of plagues, no one in the Wen family was spared. Even the main city where the Wen family was located was slaughtered, and blood flowed like a river. If it were not for the vigilance of the Ning family's spies, they would have been caught in the crossfire this time. Now that such a thing had happened, the divine realm would not be at peace. The Ning family's master was like a god. As soon as the Wen family's matter came out, it spread throughout the entire divine world in just a few days. For a time, the people of the divine world were in a state of panic and unrest. Ice City was a very unremarkable small city in the northernmost part of the divine realm. This city was finally covered in snow. The weather was cold, and the ground was frozen. It was famous for its cold in the divine realm. Although a sparrow was small, it had all the essentials. Although the Ice City wasn't big and was owned by a small family, there were many shops in the city. However, there were very few people in the city, so the business wasn't very good. There was only one inn in the Ice City. In a guest room on the second floor of the inn, there was an old man. This old man had an ordinary appearance, white hair, and a face full of vicissitudes. His strength was not high either, only at the god realm. At this moment, his body was emitting a cold aura, and his ordinary face was full of pain. The Wen family. The Wen family that I've worked so hard to build is gone just like that. I hate it. The old man muttered to himself in pain, his eyes glistening with tears. His face was ruthless and dark. This person was none other than the Wen family head who had escaped from the secret realm. After leaving the secret realm, Master Wen had been hiding from the men in black. At the same time, he had to guard against Master Ning and the others' pursuit of him. However, to his surprise, Master Ning and the others did not make any moves. On the contrary, it was his lord's men who kept chasing him. As a hidden chess piece of his lord, he was very clear about his lord's ruthlessness. Since he had failed this mission, his lord would definitely not let him off. Therefore, he could only hide everywhere like a stray dog. He didn't dare to contact the Wen family, not even through telepathy, because the mark left on him by his lord would expose his every move. At that time, his lord would definitely use the Wen family to threaten him, so pretending that he didn't care was the best way. However, he didn't expect that his lord would still make a move on the Wen family. Originally, he had thought that his lord would not act rashly as the Wen family was one of the 8 great divine regions. Based on his understanding of Master Ning and the others, they would not casually touch the Wen family's people before killing him. He had thought that he had considered everything very thoroughly, but things were still out of his control. His lord had only acted against the Wen family because of a single mistake on his part. He was afraid that his lord would find out where he was, so he endured the pain and removed the mark. This way, he would anger his lord and bring a fatal disaster to the Wen family. However, if he could do it all over again, he would still do the same. The Wen family was important, but without him, where would the Wen family have come from? Although Master Wen's heart ached for the Wen family's destruction, he cared more about his own life. However, he had to avenge the Wen family's destruction. Furthermore, he had placed this grudge on Leng Ruoxue and the others. If it wasn't for that wretched girl, how could he have been discovered as a hidden chess piece? If it wasn't for that wretched girl, why would he be hiding like a stray dog? If it wasn't for that wretched girl, he wouldn't have been treated as a traitor by his lord and the Wen family wouldn't have been destroyed. All of these things were related to that wretched girl. At this moment, his hatred for Leng Ruoxue was overflowing. If he had the chance, he would definitely eat her flesh, gnaw her bones, and suck her blood. He wanted to make that wretched girl regret being alive in this world. Chapter 1808, The Advanced Elite Gathering. 1. The Wen family's head, who was hiding in the Ice City, hated Leng Ruoxue to the core. The mysterious woman in a certain palace also hated Leng Ruoxue. Is your information accurate? The red-robed lady on the throne raised her beautiful eyes slightly as she released a frighteningly cold aura and coldly asked the black-robed man in front of her. My lord. The information is absolutely accurate. I've also confirmed from Black One that the monsters in our secret realm were also exterminated by a woman surnamed Leng. Her life flame seems to be very extraordinary. The black-robed man's heart trembled as he reported. Recently, his lord had been moody. Every subordinate who came to report to his lord was frightened. They were afraid that they would say something wrong and offend his lord. Therefore, they had been very careful. Leng. Which family does she belong to? The woman in red frowned and asked indifferently after hearing what the man in black had said. According to what I know, that woman's name is Leng Ruoxue, and she has a close relationship with Master Ning. This time, she was the one who entered the secret realm and ruined our plan. Master's clone was also destroyed by her natal flame. The man in black didn't dare to hide anything and answered truthfully. Leng Ruoxue. When the woman in red heard this name, her beautiful face darkened and she stood up from the throne. At the same time, she heard a loud bang and the throne behind her shattered into dust. Seeing this, the man in black quickly lowered his head even more and didn't even dare to breathe loudly, for fear that his lord would vent his anger on him. Give me a detailed report on her. The red-robed woman gritted her teeth. Master, I only found out that Leng Ruoxue ascended from the lower realm. She's a deity and has been staying in the godly mainland. She only came to the godly realm in the past year. However, I don't know what she did to make the master of the Ning family admire her. She even has a good relationship with the Cheng family and the Yin family. The chief elder of the Blacksmiths Association also takes good care of her. The man in black said timidly. Only this much information. When the red-clothed woman heard the black-clothed man's report, she was clearly not satisfied. Her beautiful face immediately sank, causing the black-clothed man's face to instantly turn pale. His body trembled slightly like a fallen leaf in the autumn wind. Master, Leng Ruoxue hasn't been in the firmament for long. Furthermore, she keeps a low profile and rarely appears in public. Hence, it won't be easy to find out more about her. The man in black explained in a low voice. A bunch of trash. The red-robed woman's beautiful eyes flashed with a ruthless killing intent, but she quickly hid it. Humph. If it wasn't for the lack of manpower, she would have turned all these waste into fertilizer. Master, please calm your anger. The man in black felt the woman's displeasure. His face turned pale, and fear flashed in his eyes. He quickly knelt down and begged for mercy. Useless thing. Immediately bring some men to monitor that Leng Ruoxue. Report to me every single move she makes. The red-robed woman pondered for a moment before instructing. Yes. My lord, are you going to let Leng Ruoxue live freely? The man in black asked. If you don't let her live, do you still want to go to the Ning family's divine realm to kill? The red-robed lady growled in a low voice. She had heard from her subordinates that Leng Ruoxue was staying at the Ning family's main residence. She knew that now was not the best time to deal with Leng Ruoxue. After all, she had just ordered her men to destroy the Wen family, which had caused quite a commotion in the divinity. If she were to make a move on the Ning family now, the divinity would be in chaos. She really wanted to kill Leng Ruoxue to take revenge for the destruction of her clone. However, the peace of the god world was equally important to her. Hence, she could only suppress the hatred in her heart and allow Leng Ruoxue to live a few more days. Humph. Destroying Leng Ruoxue's clone was equivalent to destroying 1/3 of her cultivation base. Furthermore, that cultivation base could not be recovered in just a few years' time. So, how could she not hate Leng Ruoxue? Unfortunately, now was not the time for her to do as she pleased. She had planned for so long and finally had today's status with great difficulty. Therefore, she absolutely would not allow her hard work to be destroyed in one day. As for the cultivation that she had lost, she would get it back double on those people. There was also that Leng Ruoxue. When she had the chance to take revenge, she would definitely make that woman who dared to go against her suffer a fate worse than death. As long as master orders it, this subordinate is willing to go through fire and water for master. The man in black said loyally. All right. I know you're loyal, but the god world can't be in chaos now, and the Ning family can't be touched. As for Leng Ruoxue, as long as she doesn't leave the Ning family's god territory, you have to keep a close eye on her and report to me her every move. The woman in red warned. This subordinate will do as you command. The man in black replied. At this moment, Leng Ruoxue still didn't know that she had been targeted by two vicious wolves. She continued to live her life in her own way. Ever since the Wen family's incident and Master Yao's departure, the Ning family had temporarily regained their peace. Furthermore, no one from the Ning family dared to cause Leng Ruoxue any trouble. Leng Ruoxue would spend every day drinking tea, playing chess with her godfather, Uncle Long, or refining pills in the purple bamboo house. Her days were very carefree. However, these relaxed days did not last long. Leng Ruoxue and the others received a piece of news. In the various great clans of the divine world, there were people whose whereabouts were unknown one after another. Furthermore, after those people disappeared for a few days, none of them were spared. Following that, more and more rumors started to spread in the immortal realm. However, most of them were about who had offended who. When such rumors spread together, the main characters of the rumors would mysteriously disappear after a few days. Even if they were strictly guarded, they could not avoid their disappearance. However, most of the missing people were branch family members or sons of concubines, so they didn't attract much attention from the family. Many people even thought that this must be revenge from an enemy. In the divine realm, the strong were respected. Thus, this kind of revenge was nothing at all. Basically, all the great clans would encounter it. Thus, many clans did not take it seriously. If one's strength was not enough, and he had caused trouble and provoked an enemy, even if he was killed, he could only blame himself and not others. This was basically the consensus of all the major families. However, this consensus only applied to collateral relatives or sons of concubines. If the main family encountered such a situation, the family was bound to step in. After all, this was related to the face of the family. Originally, Leng Ruoxue didn't pay much attention to this kind of news. After all, those who died had nothing to do with her. Moreover, the divine realm wasn't peaceful to begin with, so it didn't matter if a few people died. However, what piqued her interest was that people from the 7 great divine domains, including the Ning, Yin, Cheng, and Yao families, had actually died. This couldn't help but pique her interest. In the bracelet, Leng Ruoxue laid on the deck chair, deep in thought. Chapter 1809, The Advanced Elite Gathering, 2, the demon peeled a grape and brought it to Leng Ruoxue's lips. He smiled and said, "Shuer, what are you thinking about?" "I'm just thinking why the divine realm is so chaotic. Every day, someone gets into an accident." Leng Ruoxue said softly as she ate the grape that the demon brought to her mouth. "Ha ha ha. If it was safe and sound, it wouldn't be called the divine realm." The demon's lips curled into a charming smile as he spoke indifferently. "But don't you think that this is too sudden? Although it's said that there'll be conflicts where there are people, almost all the great clans in the divine realm are not spared. This can't help but raise suspicions," Leng Ruoxue said with a frown. She had heard from the second elder yesterday that one of the Ning family's collateral relatives had also died. "Shuer. Since we're already here, well, take things as they come, this is what you always say. We're living in the Ning family's main residence right now, and we don't know what's going on outside, so don't let your thoughts run wild." The demon smiled and comforted her. A ray of light flashed across his dark eyes, but it quickly disappeared. "I do want to take a look outside, but my godfather won't allow it," Leng Ruoxue said gloomily. "That old man did it for your own good. He was afraid that someone would leak your information. You'll be relatively safe in the Ning family's divine realm," the evildoer said honestly. Although Master Yao and the others had sworn not to reveal anything about Shuer before they left the secret realm, there was no such thing as an absolute secret. If Shuer's news was found out by the master of the group of men in black, she would be in danger, so he stood on Master Ning's side this time. "I know," Leng Ruoxue was listless. Actually, how could she not understand her godfather's worries? However, since she had already provoked the Wen family head and those men in black, she naturally did not want to be a coward. Besides, she could not always hide like this, right? "Ha ha ha. Then you can stay here obediently. Well, leave after the storm has passed," the demon suggested. In fact, he didn't want to live under someone else's roof, but it was the safest place to live for the time being. At least those who wanted to take advantage of Shui wouldn't dare to come to their door. That's the only way, Leng Ruoxue nodded. Life here was still very carefree, but she preferred to go out and experience life outside. Most importantly, she wasn't very familiar with the god world. If it wasn't for her godfather's worry about her safety, she would have gone to travel around the god world long ago. After staying in the bracelet for long enough, Leng Ruoxue brought the evildoer away from the place. Now, she was extremely familiar with the Ning family's main residence. After strolling around the main residence, she and the evildoer went to report to her godfather. When they arrived at Master Ning's residence, Leng Ruoxue saw her godfather drinking with Uncle Long. She pulled the evildoer to sit beside them and pouted her pink lips. Godfather, your relationship with Uncle Long is getting better and better. Every time I come, I see you two whispering sweet nothings to each other. Damn girl, what's with the lovey-dovey talk? Don't you dare ruin my reputation. The master of the Ning family lightly rapped Leng Ruoxue's head and pretended to be displeased. Yup. Girl, you can't slander us. There's nothing between us. Uncle Long quickly said. He knew that this girl had been a little free recently. Fengde and the others had been in seclusion, so she was bored. I didn't say anything. Why are you guys so nervous? Leng Ruoxue's lips curled into an alluring smile as she spoke with an innocent look. You're a bad girl. I just didn't let you go out recently. Do you have to make fun of us every time you see us? The master of the Ning family said, his handsome face full of grievances. In reality, he had grounded Leng Ruoxue mainly to guard against that old pestilence of the Wen family. Now that the Wen family had been destroyed, based on his understanding of the old pestilence, he would definitely not let the matter rest. If he blamed Shui for the destruction of the Wen family, then his precious Shui would be in danger. That was why he had forced Leng Ruoxue to stay under his watch. The Ning family had 8 reverent god-level cultivators and Uncle Long. Not to mention the old god of plagues, even the men in black would have to consider whether they could escape unscathed. Therefore, the Ning family was the safest. Godfather, I'm bored. Leng Ruoxue said with a bitter face. Her beautiful little face was full of grievances. Ah. Didn't I say that you can play with anyone from the Ning family? But you can't leave the Ning family's main residence. The master of the Ning family wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. He thought that he had given Shui enough freedom, and with them accompanying her, how could this girl still be bored? They don't dare to mess with me. Leng Ruoxue complained. If they didn't come to provoke you, why didn't you provoke them? How about I let Ning Shan out and let her play with you? The master of the Ning family suggested. His words made Leng Ruoxue's face darken. She couldn't help but mutter, is Godfather still the old ancestor of the Ning family? He actually gave her this kind of idea. If those Ning family people knew, wouldn't they be angry and vomit blood? Ning family's boy, your elbow has already turned to the endless ocean, right? Uncle Long laughed and joked. Hee hee. That's right. The master of the Ning family was not ashamed of it. On the contrary, he was proud of it. Leng Ruoxue couldn't bear to see the arrogance on his face. Godfather, let's keep a low profile. Leng Ruoxue was a little embarrassed. Her godfather was indeed biased. Why do you need to keep a low profile? It's not like it's something shameful. The master of the Ning family said with dissatisfaction. Ah. Leng Ruoxue wiped away the cold sweat on her forehead, feeling a little speechless. Sometimes, when her godfather was willful, even she was helpless. Master, Uncle Long, I have something to report. Suddenly, the second elder rushed in from outside the courtyard and said straightforwardly. Speak, he said. The master of the Ning family nodded. Family head, the elite gathering has been brought forward. The second elder said with a dark expression. In advance? Master Ning was stunned, and his shrewd eyes were full of question marks. Yes. According to the people sent by the God Lord's estate, the God Lord felt that people from the great clans of the divine world had been in trouble one after another recently. He was afraid that the people's hearts would waver, so he brought forward the elite competition to divert everyone's attention and prevent them from panicking. The second elder said honestly. After hearing the second elder's words, Master Ning's face became serious, and no one knew what he was thinking. When Lin Ruoxue heard the words elite gathering, she asked second elder with interest, "Second elder, what elite gathering?" Little Shuai, the elite assembly is a grand event that plays an important role in the divine realm. It's held once every 10,000 years and has been going on for hundreds of thousands of years. At the same time, it's also a grand event to test the true strength of the various great clans. At that time, all the great clans will send out their clans' elites to participate in the assembly. Our 8 families are the most powerful families in the divine realm. However, with the Wen family's misfortune this year, there should be new faces appearing in the 8 great divine regions. The second elder explained.